I used to smoke marijuana for a few years, and then I also used to watch porn, not like religiously, but like I would watch it, and thankfully I never hit that like addiction stage. But I do want to say also for people out there, if you are struggling with a really tough addiction, that doesn't mean it's like GG game over.
Yeah, no,
there's still hope for you.
There is. So gentrification would be you're tearing down the old homes of like Section 8 housing, and some redeveloper will come in and build these really nice houses and overprice them so the people who used to have them can't get into them.
Man, that reminds me, I have a friend who is in a same-sex relationship and lives with their partner. I've never condemned them for their choice to do so, but at the same time, I do wish that they were not living in that lifestyle. I'm just wondering if there's going to become a movement within a few years where you're almost prohibited from buying gas-powered vehicles to encourage the purchase of electric.
California's already trying to do it.
Are they?
California did it with stove. They don't build new homes with gas-powered stoves. They have to have electric-powered stoves. They're trying to get rid of all gas within houses in California, which is why their electric grid is going out.
Give a little sound bite.
Check.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Reborn Experience. I'm your host, Ian Wolf, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Mr. Caleb Ervin.
Hello. How are you?
Dude, we've had so much conversation off camera, and like, I don't know, that could have been a whole podcast itself. So
It
now,
could have.
Now it's kind of weird to actually be on camera with a mic in hand, you know?
Yeah. Most of the time I like to have those introspective kind of conversations with people, and I left the surface level to our conversations, but here I'll probably get further into most of those conversations. So it's great to be here. Happy to be doing this with you. I mean, it's good to see your growth, growth as a person. I mean, I saw you in high school. You're a different person now than you were then.
For sure. Yeah, we could talk about that later, both of us.
When you become an adult, it's weird. Because you can tell the change from when you were a kid to now. Because it's like when you see yourself when you were 12 or 13, you hear your kid voice. Mm-hmm. And then now you hear yourself now and you're like, this is way different.
For sure. And some people we went to high school with now they're married and have a kid or two, and wow.
Yeah, I mean, not only the people who've gotten married, but the people we've lost. I mean, that's the other portion of it, is like you see both sides of the coin, the good and the bad, and it really teaches you about life, the positives and negatives. There's always going to be both, I always looked at Will Janowski.
Okay.
Will Janowski at one point was like the role model. They were in a relationship for a long time, and then he found something else, and I don't know what he's doing now, but he's not doing football.
He just got married not too long ago.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I mean. Like, he had a different relationship, and that was kind of like the role model for most people to go off of.
For sure.
Then that he got out of that relationship, and now he's in a new one, and he got married. But it's the same with him when it comes to like football. At one point he was going to play football, and then he didn't want to do that anymore. And I don't remember what he's doing now, but
God had other plans. And
yes, he did have
I'm also going through a breakup too, and we weren't perfect by any means, but I do think that to at least some people, her and I had similar thing, that like model type of a relationship. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of the right things. Mm-hmm. They seem healthy, but that's not the case anymore. And so I hope that both her and I do find someone amazing.
And shout out to her, because
yes,
even though that portion, that journey, that chapter is closed, she did change you for the better. And I can tell that through her you did have some changes. And
outside of Jesus, she may have been the best thing to ever happen to me. And that's big time.
And that's all. There's also a hard part of that, because now you're dealing with hardship on the back end of it. Mm-hmm. So, it's good to see everyone doing self-improvement, everyone trying to be better for themselves and be better for God, be better for Jesus. And, you know, praise everything to him, you know, he's everything for all of us. He's our only way to get to heaven. And, you know, as long as you follow him, not saying nothing can go wrong, but the end goal is never going to go wrong.
Things will still go wrong in life because we're in a broken world. But yeah.
But the end goal will always be that, you know, as long as you're following him and you do what you can to follow him and be like Jesus, you know, always ask yourself, what would Jesus do? The end goal is always to be in heaven. And our job here as disciples now is to help other people get to that position as well.
Yeah. And maybe there's some people that we went to school with who might come into contact with this. And I think that you can still be going down a road of self-improvement and becoming better, but you don't know the Lord. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to come off like I'm condemning people or like I'm a legalist and you have to do X, Y, and Z or you're a bad person. But I would like to be able to, you know, myself and with other people talk about our life, but like, how can we show how the Lord works through our triumphs and our hardships in life?
Yeah. Well, and I'll just mention this. I mentioned it off camera. I was talking to Mr. Dunning, on Facebook, and he's not Christian. He's Catholic.
Okay. Now, real quick distinction. That's, you know, some people think Catholics are Christians and some don't. There's similarities, but
there are similarities. I'll let you go on. But there's different variants.
Yeah.
Catholicism has extra books, and I'm not going to condemn whatever you believe in. You believe in. I'm just going to make that very fair. I'm not condemning anyone because your path is your path. What I will say is that we have to love people where they are at. You have to love them where they're at. Because Jesus, let's be honest, Jesus' disciples were the broken of the broken. You know, none of them were perfect.
Yeah.
None of us are perfect. You know, Jesus had a tax collector for a disciple, and that was one of the ones that was really scummy.
I don't know if he had any people who were quote unquote Christians when he chose them. He chose, like you said, broken people, and they walked with him for 3 years.
Exactly. So being that, you know, it is not our job to judge anyone for where they are at in their life. I have friends who are a part of the LGBTQ community. I have friends who are Buddhists. I've got friends who are atheists, and it's not saying that that's what defines them. And it's not saying that if they don't become Christian, then I haven't done my job, because all my job is to be like Jesus to them. And no matter where they are at, you know.
Man, that reminds me. I have a friend who is in a same-sex relationship and lives with their partner. I don't know if they'll listen to this or not. I think they listen to some of the stuff. And it's like, I've never condemned them for their choice to do so, but at the same time, I do wish that they were not living in that lifestyle.
Well, I'll be honest, okay? I made that mistake one time, and I'm not going to name her on here, but she went to the school. She went to Wright City. I had a really good relationship for her with her, and I brought that up, and that was my sin. That was my sin. Me telling her that God says that's a sin and you would be condemned for that, that was my sin, because we are not the judge.
Correct. We're not the judge. And I want to be clear. I don't I won't try to treat anyone differently if they are same sex, but I do live my life in accordance to what God's word says. And so I don't hate the person, but I do hate all types of sin, not just same sex sin, but
it's also, to me, it's not really our job to hate the sin. Like I said, it's our job to love them where they're at.
Correct.
And meet them where they're at. And we've mentioned this. We'll probably talk about it with other people and other relationships that you have in your life. But our job is not to condemn anyone. It's really just to bring them to Jesus, and then it's Jesus' job to do whatever he needs to do for them. We just need to help them create the space for God to move in, because God moves, and our job is to
Mm,
kind of help them plant the seeds for God to do his movement, because it's not our job to do the movement, and we can't do it for them. It's their life that they have to live. All we can do is just be like Jesus and love them, because Jesus told us to love, you know.
correct. And that's something I'm praying about too, because there is a point where like in some circumstances, it's appropriate
Mm-hmm.
to speak the truth in love.
Mm-hmm.
But other times, perhaps speaking isn't what's beneficial
Mm-hmm.
at that time.
Yeah.
So
And
discernment is huge.
yeah, and if they are in sin, and I know there are appropriate times to do it, and there are times where it's not appropriate, but we live in a society nowadays where you can't really preach the gospel and evangelize like you used to, because it's kind of frowned upon. Basically,
I've seen clips on social media of like street preachers getting arrested. I'm like,
Mhm.
yo, why?
Yeah, and we live in a society now that it's basically condemned by popular culture. So you kind of have to change your mindset of trying to change people's minds by force or by word, and just show them with action, because action speaks louder than words.
Bingo.
So I mean, and the point proven, with that person that I did, I learned my lesson.
Sure.
I apologized to her. Now she doesn't have to accept my apology. I gave it out there, and I'm not expecting her to ever be back in my life, but that was my mistake, and I do apologize for that mistake. But that was my sin, and I learned from it, and I got introspective learning from that moment, because at the time, I think I had probably just turned 18, 17 or 18. So I didn't know Jesus well back then.
Were you following Jesus, but you were still like early? How did that look?
So no, I wouldn't say it was. I was following Jesus, because I
Following with air quotes.
yeah. So I was saved when I was really young. I was baptized, but I wasn't following him. Especially through middle school and high school, I wasn't. Like, the only thing I would do is I would go to church, and that was the end of it. And didn't do any extra stuff, didn't do any extracurricular, wasn't following up, wasn't keeping that relationship with him intact. I wasn't trying to bring him in, and that's all he wants, is he just wants a relationship with you. And I wasn't doing that at that time. So my worldview on Christianity was basically how that perspective of sin is sin, and you have to condemn it. That's not the case.
So when do you? Okay, you said you think you were saved when you were younger.
So I got saved when I was younger.
Okay.
I was saved at Element Church when I was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
I think I've been baptized like 2 or 3 times, I think, but none of them really hit. I have not, and I'll be honest. My dad, my mom preach or pray for me to get that supernatural experience. I still haven't gotten it. And until then, my passion is me trying to build the passion, basically. Because I wouldn't say I would have it right now.
What do you mean by having the passion?
So I'll just use my dad as an example. In everything my dad does, he wants to seek the relationship with Jesus in everything. He wants to do ministry. He wants his entire life to be around Jesus. And he went to Rhema. He went to Rhema Bible School. So he had a supernatural experience there. He's done a lot of different things, and his relationship with Jesus is closer than mine would be. But my dad and most of the people around me have had that like moment that they can say that they had that connection, where they felt all the emotions rush on them, that God moved into their. But I haven't opened myself up for that yet, because I'm still dealing with things myself that I don't know if I was. I'm not saying I'm not ready for it, but I'm certainly not in the position where I would be ready for it yet.
If it provides any encouragement, um, yes, I too would like a supernatural occurrence. That's not something I've necessarily experienced, but I have experienced my relationship with Jesus really evolve and seen the fruits, like the way that I talk and treat other people and me processing certain traumas from the past, all that stuff. Like, it's gradually gotten better and better, and I haven't received that. So if that's any encouragement, like it's not, at least from my experience, I don't think you need to experience that to still progress in your walk.
And that might have been a bad way to say it. When I'm meaning about that supernatural experience is more the gospel fluidity. Like, you want to be gospel fluent.
Sure.
And I'm definitely not there, and I'm definitely not consistent at reading the Bible. I'm not really consistently getting, time in with Jesus. It's more situation. I wouldn't even say situational. It's just like not consistent, It's not that I don't want it. It's that I don't make time for it. So even in my perspectives with Jesus, I still have my flaws,
We all do.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. I got a podcast, and I've already opened up to you off camera about some flaws. We all do.
We all do. We'd all do.
Man, sometimes having some sort of motivating factor could be really good for you. Like for me, I started this podcast a little over a year ago. I wasn't fluent with the Bible. I still wouldn't consider myself fluent, but I started it, and honestly, I didn't know much about the Bible, but I had the heart to share the gospel, and I had the heart to share the right message. Yeah. Hey, quick word from today's sponsor, Christ Coffee. Every single order, 100% of the $5 shipping charge goes directly to organizations rescuing children from sex trafficking. Groups like Destiny Rescue, A21, and the Tim Tebow Foundation. And if your order hits $65 or more, Christ Coffee matches it. So $10 per shipment goes to the rescue. The beans are roasted and shipped the same day, so every bag is as fresh as it gets. Smooth, bold, no bitterness. And every cup funds rescue work. Head to Christ.coffee and use my code REBORN10 for 10% off. That's Christ.coffee, code REBORN10. And so that became a motivator. Like, yo, if I'm going to be talking about the Bible and sharing it on social media, I better be doing it properly, because the Bible does condemn false teachers.
Yes.
And I don't want to do that. I don't want to fall under God's wrath, and I don't want to lead people astray. So I need to continue to learn so I can share better.
Yeah. And I would say the reason why my relationship with Jesus isn't as close as it should be, and that's partly just my thinking probably. I was never a good reader in school. So my biggest thing was, like, everyone said I sucked at reading, and I was really bad, and it's hard to comprehend. So
were you getting like bullied for it?
Not really bullied, but like everyone was so far ahead that it felt like I was mocking myself more. So I just, even when I grab books and I feel like I want to read, I want to get into reading, I never do. That's just, and it's not even just the Bible. I just don't read in general.
You're a pretty avid reader now, aren't you?
I'm a decent reader.
Okay.
I'll read about things that I'm interested in researching. So like the book I'm reading now, Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow. And then there are two books with critical theory that I'm looking into that are Christian based that I will be reading into. But I'm getting more into the Bible, but it's more audiobook based. I mean, reading fast, Thinking Fast and Slow, that's audio. It's all audio.
Sure. Okay, so guys, earlier before this podcast, Caleb and I we got some Mexican food. It was pretty delicious. What was your?
It was quesadilla.
Yeah. I think I got the quesadilla too. I got steak. But anyways, you brought up an example from that Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. What was that like example you gave me?
Okay, so think of it like
you gave me like two different questions.
Yeah, so which one is bigger as far as population, Los Angeles or St. Louis?
LA.
So that would be considered one of those quick thinking thoughts that you already have in your head, and it's based off logic. And then the other one is, what's 17 times 24?
That would take me a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's the lazier portion of your brain, because it's not something you need to know, and it's not a logical based fact. So you have to think harder for it. So it's fast and slow. But then you get further into the book, and you have that portion that you're thinking about, and then it talks about biases within your life. So how I was raised, that's going to affect how I think. So that's going to be, environmental biases. Then you've got the logical biases. And I can look further into it. I put out a tweet about it, and I put the book on there as well. But it's a fascinating book, and then there's a few other ones that I'll be going through. There's one called Thinking Critically.
What are some of the other books that you purchased or have read? You were telling me about it on one of our conversations.
So, well, this and I'm not going to say the word because it's a cuss word, but there is a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that one basically, what it does is try and help you get perspective of, you're not the most important person, but there's also the other portion of it. You're not the least important person either. It's kind of that you either want yourself to be completely centralized, or you want to be yourself completely isolated.
You're both that, and you're both not the main character, but also let's not fall into victim mentality either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there's the two portions, and you got to kind of change your brain on how you think that, no, not everyone's going to care about you, and world is not centered around you. But you also can't throw yourself in the back like, I'm not never going to be this, I'm never going to be that. And that was me. I'm the glass half empty. Yeah. And I can say that proudly because that's just how I was. That's how my brain is. But I'm not saying it proudly as like I'm happy about that, but I am saying that as I can accept who I am, and I'm trying to change that. That's the job change that I just went through. That was one of those things. Like before, you think I'm gonna switch jobs and have all that risk come out? Heck no, I'm not doing that. But now I'm really trying to jump in and take the risk because I want to be better for myself, be better for other people, be better for Jesus, and that's the main part, is being better for Jesus, to be like him,
Yeah. And the examples you brought up with that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep, I see a lot of myself in the other one too. Mm-hmm. And we could talk about that later. Like a struggle of mine is definitely pride. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, I was very prideful and self-centered. Mm-hmm. And so, not being like,
and your Superman cape was baseball.
Yeah, I for sure think it was baseball. That was my identity.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing, is having your gospel identity, mm-hmm. rather than, this world is very small when you think of the vast universe, and this world, you're gone like that. Life is very, very short. So if we're taking that into consideration, why would we put a sport above having that relationship with Jesus for eternal life?
When you put it that way, I didn't see it at the time. I didn't see God or really know God, even though I went to church.
Yeah,
when I was younger.
And I can say exact same thing, because I was the same as you. I wanted to play a sport, or I wanted to be a commentator in sports because I'm a really good talker. I wanted to produce music. There's a lot of things that I wanted to do in the world, and where it was half pointed towards Jesus, but half my own desire.
Sure.
It was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And, when you think about how short life is, you only live once, and you want to take advantage of your time here, but you want to take advantage of the time here wisely. So doing music producing, playing sports. Yeah, that's all good, but we gotta be disciples for Jesus. We gotta bring everyone with you. I mean, the biggest comment I ever made, and it's probably the most impactful, from my dad, Christopher. You can't bring things in life with you to heaven. You can only bring people.
Mm.
That's the biggest impactful statement my dad ever made to me, and I was 9.
Wow.
So, and that was back when I was just trying to play video games. I just wanted to play a video game. I wanted to play sports.
You just want to get on the game and have fun.
And then my dad laid that on me. But at the time, I didn't realize what it meant until I got older.
That's really good, and that's been a prayer for me. Is Lord help, Lord align my desires to be more in accordance with your desires. Because I think we all, whatever you do in life, we want to have fun and we want to enjoy our life and enjoy the things we do. But at the same time, it's very critical that, I believe it's critical that we're doing what God wants us to do. We're doing things that please God, not just to please him, but because we want to please him.
Yeah.
And so, some people might think, oh, well, what if God wants me to do something I don't want to do? Then I'll do what God does, but then I'm just unhappy, and that could be a whole nother rabbit trail there. But I've just been praying, Lord, help me want what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's the ego in that, because sometimes you don't want to do what he wants you to do.
Oh, sure.
There's always that time where my grandma talked about this the other day. She felt that urge to talk to this person from Home Depot. Right. But she didn't do it. She didn't move into that time of doing it, and I'm not saying she didn't want to, she just didn't. But when you're talking about me, talking's easy for me. The doing aspect is the harder part. I don't like reading. I don't like carving out time, because I just want to do what I want to do. And most of the time that's either laying in my bed sleeping or scrolling through whatever, watching a sport. But if I can take, even just 10 minutes for God, and there's that struggle in there that, there are times where you don't want to do anything, but you're meant to do something. And it's kind of putting that sacrifice out there, that what are you willing to sacrifice to get to where you need to be, or where you want to be, or where God wants you to be.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, because you said that you have some dyslexia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So reading naturally is a little more difficult, and
yeah, it's a little harder to comprehend.
Yeah. So then for other people who either have some form of dyslexia, or, they struggle with reading or the desire to read, do you have any other suggestions of ways that they could still get in God's word?
Audiobooks.
Okay.
So it depends on where you're at. If you're in high school, even if you just take 10 minutes on the bus ride where you just put some headphones in and you just listen to the audio, or you find a podcast that talks about it, or have a devotional that's audio, that's your best way to get it. I drive into work. It's a 35-minute drive into work, but the best time that I ever had with my relationship with Jesus is when I was working Meals on Wheels, when I was on the road driving 6 to 7 hours a day. I can listen to audiobooks and podcasts all day.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that Jesus time in that, and that was a benefit. But other people don't have that type of time, because they're not driving all day. So my suggestion, I'm still trying to figure out my way to do it now, because my job is from 10 till 7, but it's about to be really hectic. So I'm about to be working from 8 till 7. So my time is probably going to be at the car ride to work and from work, and maybe a little bit of time in that hour break that you get for lunch. But
I think that lunch break's a great time for anyone to refresh, not just scroll on your phone, but man, get away from all that noise and soak it in.
Yeah. And, and to each their own, You know, everyone's got to find their own thing, because what works for me is not going to work for you. And what works for, you know, my mom is not what's going to work for any of us, because she has a different way of going about things than I do, you know? Um, it's just finding your way to get your time, your relationship in with God for the day. And that's all he wants. He just wants a relationship with you. It's nothing more, you know. As long as we keep that relationship strong, you know, it's gonna be an easier path. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but it will be easier than trying to deal with everything on your own. And being as someone who wanted to be independent, who felt like, if I didn't do everything on my own, then I'm not good enough.
Felt the same way. I used to take a lot of pride in being like a lone wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and man, like look at me, I'm so strong and cool and powerful because I'm doing these things without anyone's help. That's
And
how you
it's
how I used to think.
and it for me, it wasn't what other people thought of me doing it by myself. It was my own thoughts that was poisoning, because it's and I've spoke about this with my dad. My dad can actually go over a little bit better than I can, because I can't remember how he specifically explained it, but you know, the weird thing about your brain is that your brain likes to do these things where you think what they think of you. So you are thinking what they think of you, and then you try and change what you think about yourself, but you're pinning those thoughts about yourself onto someone else.
So do you think another way of putting that is you're projecting insecurities or
Mm-hmm.
fears you have, and
Onto other
you're
people's
project
thoughts.
say that one more time.
You're projecting your own insecurities onto other people's thoughts.
Guilty.
Same, same. That's the thing, you know, and that's a pretzel to get your brain out of. I mean, it's real.
How do you do
That's
that?
you know, thinking through it. You got to think through it first, but you also got to pray about it. You know, you got to pray through it, because if you don't, you're going to end up like where I was, where you know you almost commit. You know,
Yeah.
those are the points where you can get to, if you, it's a dangerous game to be playing mentally.
Those like self-defeating kind of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you still struggle with?
Not as much. Um, so I've never actually. I mean, I've went to like 3 mental therapist appointments. But those are expensive when you don't have health insurance. But once I'm getting health insurance now, I'll start to go back through them. But I go through seasons. And that season normally is around like winter, where you get those self-defeating thoughts, but then the rest of the year you're like trying to strive.
Why do you think that is?
Um, well, the wintertime is like, and that was just from back in the day. Like wintertime is when you don't do anything.
You're just inside the house a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say like even more than just wintertime, like most of my stuff, like all of that, all, because I wouldn't say like in actual high school it was that bad. Like it was bad, but not that bad. But it all like really started blowing up whenever COVID happened, and you're in your room doing school or work all day, and you're never doing anything else. You don't socialize, you know. And I was a social butterfly. Like I tried to not be, but I was. Everyone knows it. Like I think you out of everyone would know, I could walk up to you and just have a conversation real quick about
Oh yeah.
something, and I would do that with everyone.
In the best way possible. You were a talker, and you still are.
Yeah.
You have the gift of gab, which could be used in a lot of areas of life.
Yes, yes. And I'm very comfortable speaking to anyone. But there is that time frame, like even now, there is that time frame where I do become introverted. And it's not that I don't have the capability to talk to anyone, because I can. That's more my self defensive mechanisms, rather than because I don't want to get hurt over spreading the word of Jesus towards other people. So, you know, if I spread the word, that thought process of, well, they could condemn me, they could say names to me, they could shut me down,
For sure.
they could say no, that there's that goes on in your brain. And I feel like that's a lot of Christians nowadays, and that's why they don't speak out.
Bro, I struggle with the same thing. I'm big and bold here on a podcast. I struggle in real life to talk, like, I can act like Jesus, but to actually talk about Jesus, unless I know that you're a Christian or you like ask me about it, if I don't know what your stance is, or if I know that your stance is not as a follower of Jesus, rarely do I talk about Jesus. And I want to be bold.
And and this is where I'm really good at, and this is probably a good segment into the music that you were talking about.
Perfect.
So my biggest way to connect to people is not starting out with a Jesus conversation. You kind of like it's not really taking their guard down. It's more or less just letting them know that you're not there to judge and condemn them and call them out and try and embarrass them or any of that, because I see that a lot from Christians, whether it be social media or just in regular life. They aren't acting like Jesus, and they act like they are Jesus, unfortunately. And that's kind of the society we live in. So my connection to people, specifically when I worked at Amazon and when I worked at Meals on Wheels, and not Walmart, was the other one. Anyway, I'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
So those two specifically, those jobs, you're meeting a lot of people from other cultures. I mean, when I was doing Meals on Wheels, you're going down to Bell Fountain and Florissant. You're going down to the hood.
Okay, so that's like closer to downtown St. Louis.
Like Jennings Station Road, and you're going down to where life is broken. Tornadoes went through there. Now they're all worried about gentrification because
What's that?
So gentrification would be you're tearing down the old homes of like Section 8 housing, and some redeveloper will come in and build these really nice houses and overprice them, so the people who used to have them can't get into them.
So like on the one hand, it is good for the community, but on the other hand, it's not, because those who actually live in the community can't afford it.
Yeah, so they would be kicking them out of that house that they were in because it's no longer there. And then they build their own properties on them and overprice them for the market because, they're trying to make profit.
So it could be a lot better if they just rebuilt another, like a nice Section 8 setup. Okay.
Stuff like that, and they'll kick them out of the area. And that's why we have a lot of homeless. That's a good portion of that. Most of those houses down there that got hit by the tornado, none of them have been fixed.
I was going to say, where was I? It was somewhat close to downtown, and there were like whole strips. Houses were just destroyed, and I don't know how many months or years they've been like that.
Down in Ferguson and all. Yeah, it's almost been a year.
Man. And
no offense to any of the politics down there. I'm not going to get involved into whatever's down there, but it doesn't seem like anyone cares to try and help that community out. Those roads are all bad.
Yeah, we were talking about that overpass in East St. Louis that you could see the rebar, and like you could see down below.
It's like going to the Science Center and seeing the glass on the floor.
Sure.
And you can see the road of people driving under you.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is, only this time there's no safety guard there. That's just straight up, you can see through, and you could fall through if the rebar wasn't there.
I wonder how many tires have been popped.
Probably too many to count. I mean, that's probably why there are so many issues out there. I mean, have you ever seen that guy on TikTok who like goes around towns? And he was in St. Louis not too long ago, and he was like standing in a pothole, and it was like up to his knees.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that's dangerous for those cars. That's dangerous for people.
You bet.
So, and
you could go fishing out of that.
Exactly. So, and they don't do anything about it. They never really want to, unless there's a profit in it for them. And that's what we live in now as a society is that kind of a world. Is money is the idol over God. and helping people and being there for people.
Yeah, and we don't. I don't want to get into this. I just want to say like of all the we look at like the wealthy 1%,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak for all of them, but some of them it seems as if they're hoarding it for
Yeah. Yeah.
themselves or their families, and
Yeah.
it's like, man, even if you just gave 10% of what you have
Mm-hmm.
and redistribute it, I don't know, and like they're
But there's also the portion that you can't say that they're bad people. They've just been corrupted.
how so?
Anyone who gets into that type of a career, right? They go in thinking, "Oh, I'm going to do this for this community and this and that and this and that," and then once they get into it, they fall into the trap of the entire system. And once you get trapped into the entire system, then you get pulled in, and then money is the object, and that's what you want. So then your entire motivation to do anything is money.
Do you think it's a matter of just their morals and values changing, or do you think maybe they got caught up in some
No,
sort of like blackmail?
I think it's partly that, but also temptation.
So like maybe morals and values got changed by temptation.
I wouldn't even say that their morals and values changed, because their morals and values can still stay the same, but they can be, tempted into doing it. And then it's like,
Okay.
so what would be a good example of that? So think about it with you. Let's say you had, let's say you were 16, 17, right?
Okay.
And you have your male hormones going,
Sure.
right? And you meet a girl but your parents won't let you date. So you hide it.
Okay.
Okay. But you're getting deeper and deeper into that relationship, and you don't want to break it off. So you're still going through the cycle. Does that kind of make sense to you?
It's kind of making sense.
So, and you can do that with anything, that could be the explicit sites. People do it with that. Once you get caught into that cycle, you're stuck in that cycle for a long time until you have someone to help you change. It's an addiction. People do it with alcohol. People do it with drugs. People do it with video games. People do it with money. It doesn't matter what your passion is, like what you love to do, you can still get an addiction to it. And once you hit that addiction stage, you can never go back. I mean, they always say once you have an addiction, you have to completely stop with it, because you're just going to get addicted again. Because once you pass that addiction level, because there's the abuse stage and then there's the addiction level. And once you pass that addiction level, I forget who I was listening to. It was a psychologist, but he said once you pass that addiction stage, you can never go back to it. Otherwise, you would still be addicted and you'd fall back into the same trap.
I'm just thankful because there were a couple of things in high school that were not good. So like a couple that come to mind is like I used to smoke marijuana for a few years, and then I also used to watch porn, not like religiously, but like I would watch it, and thankfully I never hit that like addiction stage, but I would definitely partake in it more than I should have. But it makes me wonder like how differently life could have been had I got addicted. But I do want to say also for people out there, if you are struggling with a really tough addiction, that doesn't mean it's like GG game over.
Yeah, no,
there's still hope for you.
There is always hope. I mean, like even if you did have a porn addiction, there are apps that will help you like completely get rid of it. Like those apps it's called Quitter.
Okay.
It's a really good app to keep you from doing, and they'll have a clock and they'll reassure you if you have those urges. They have like motivational talking, and they have videos, they have inspirational stuff to try and help you get through that. There are things you can do and resources to help you out of those addictions, no matter what it is.
And I don't want to be corny, but having people and accountability partners
that too
is one of the best things. Like if you're surrounding yourself with other people who are doing the same kind of addictions, or like, your addiction, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. But if you have if you have friends or family or accountability partners who don't agree with that and they love you enough and they can hold you accountable with love, not like rashly, whatever. We need that as people.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it in isolation, look,
well, we're humans, or we were made to socialize. We were not made to be in isolation. So you do need those. But there are also those times where you like with porn, you can be ashamed. So you're going to isolate yourself. So you need to find other ways to kind of get yourself through.
Yeah.
As a resource, and then you can lean into other people, because right off the bat, you're not gonna want to bring that up to anyone else, because you're gonna feel that shame
unless you really trust them, and that's something I've definitely with various struggles, past or present. It's like, there's still a certain level of trust you want to have in a person to confide in them with that struggle, because what if you get very vulnerable about a serious struggle that's kind of embarrassing or whatever?
Yeah.
And you tell someone, and then they go just run their mouth to a bunch of other people like, oh, can you believe what struggle Caleb has? Like,
or even worse, if you're in a relationship with someone, they use it as ammunition against you.
That sounds toxic.
Yeah, but that is a struggle with some people. And that's not, I'm not just talking girls, that's both ways.
You're saying like keeping score, kind of?
Mm-hmm, kind of like,
sure.
If you get into an argument, you have that in your back pocket to hold up to kind of win that argument, because you're mad at them.
And I will say, I think at least in small doses, I'm definitely, like, I've been guilty of that at times. So, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I've never used it, because I probably have. I just probably can't think of it off the top of my head. But I've done that before. We're all susceptible to the same things.
Yeah.
And I would say that if anyone has ever done that, doesn't mean you're a horrible person. It means you're human. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. You just live and you learn from them, and you learn the lessons and grow from it. They always say, they have the fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, and then if you're making the same mistakes over and over again, and you're not learning from them, well, you're not growing, and you refuse to grow. You don't want to. That's where that urge is you don't want to grow. You don't want to change your ways. You're happy with where you're at. You're happy being in neutral.
As Christians, we are never done growing. At Elevated Faith, their products serve as a daily reminder to constantly strive for elevated faith, a deeper relationship with God, and to share our faith with other people. Christian apparel for men, women, and the kids. But it doesn't end there. Elevated Faith creates a variety of other Christian products, from jewelry, phone cases, and even home decor. At Elevated Faith, they are not in it for the bag. In 2025, over $85,000 were given to faith-based charities and organizations around the world, such as Feeding America, Compassion, and God Behind Bars. With over 80,000 five-star reviews, the proof is in the pudding. Go shop at elevatedfaith.com and use code IWOLF15 at checkout for 15% off your order. That's IWOLFF15, IWOLF15 for 15% off your next order. Sure. Well, I wanted to talk to you about music a little bit. A couple different avenues we could go down. First off, what kind of music do you listen to?
So my music has changed. My parents are not going to be too happy with what I was listening to when I was a kid. There was a lot of really bad music involved, and it wasn't really the lyrics that I was urging for. It's the actual music. That's why I got into music producing. It's the actual beats,
like the music video side of things.
No, I'm talking about whenever you listen to a song, it's not the song, the song lyrics that brought me in. It's the music. It's the actual beat behind it that brought me in.
What's wrong with the beats that you were listening to? Is that what you're referring to?
It's nothing wrong with the beats I was listening to. It's wrong with the lyrics.
Okay.
But the lyrics is not what pulled me in.
Got it.
It's the music that pulled me in.
And so you've done some music producing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you still do?
A little, not as much as I used to. But also my taste has changed. There was a lot of like mumble rap in there, and you know, drill rap in there when I was a kid, and I listened to a lot of basically conscious rappers. I listen to some Christian rappers as well, but then like also like I used to not like country. I listen to country now.
Okay. Now, real quick, when you say conscious rappers, I know what you mean, but for other people, what do you mean by that?
So conscious rappers are people who are speaking on introspective level stuff. So when you listen to rap, most people look at the drugs, sex, and money. Those are what most people refer to when they think of rap.
Yeah.
What I'm referring to is people who think introspectively. So, like for instance, and people can, you don't have to like it, but like Kendrick Lamar, for instance, right? Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole are like two people that I listen to a lot. I have tapestries in my room of them. You know, they are very influential people on who I am as a person, but it's also influential on how I learned the culture that I was serving to.
It's not just brain rot music.
No, it's not. Kendrick Lamar had a album called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Is that the one where he has like the crown of like the crown of thorns on his head?
Yes.
Okay.
And that entire album was basically his therapy session with his therapist. That he had been writing poetry through it.
Really?
And basically he went through all of the stages that he was going through. There's United in Grief. There's one called Father Time. It was talking about his struggles with his dad, you know, and how he was raised. And it's basically one of the lyrics on there is trust nobody, only your mama and them.
Mm.
So like it was literally going through his childhood story and all the traumas in his life. And then it gets to the second disc, and that's how he is now. He was during the Good Kid, Mad City album, and through the How to Pimp a Butterfly album. You know, his infidelity and how he had to grow and learn from that. And there was one song that was literally him and another girl going back and forth, and it was him and his girlfriend that he was with at the time, right after his infidelity, and it was them bashing, and that was why he did it.
What does infidelity mean?
So infidelity would be cheating on your significant other.
So you're saying he cheated on his girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's what he said. That's what he was saying in his song.
Okay.
He said and you can look into this, but like he did it during the Good Kid, Mad City tour, where he was messing with the girl of her dad was an officer that had arrested his cousin, and his cousin went to prison for that. And he did it to get back at the police officer.
I see.
So he's going through his entire storyline of why he did what he did and how he did what he did, and confessing to it to God, and to fix his relationship, and why he's been gone for 4 years.
Now, he's married now, right?
I don't believe they're married, but they are partners. They have 2 kids. I don't know if they're married yet, but I don't look too far in. So they might be, they might not be.
Is that the same woman or different?
Yes, it's the same one.
Really? Okay. So, I mean, Kendrick messed up, but that shows that God can restore anything that God would like to.
You know, he even on the Good Kid, Mad City tour, you know, that song, I'm a sinner. I'm probably gonna sin again.
I am a sinner. That
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he uses God within his lyrics. I know he cusses, and people think badly about cussing, but that's in that culture. That's just a part of that culture. That's how it was raised.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not to say that that's something I do, you know, but who am I to judge someone else's art and poetry? Because that's what I believe it is. I believe it's poetry. It's just a different style of poetry. Who am I to condemn him and judge him for what he's going through with his relationship with Jesus, you know?
Yeah, I can give the benefit of the doubt if that's really all they know is like, you know, everyone around them speaks that way.
And you know, it's not to say when I listen to those type of things when I'm on my own that I don't listen to the clean versions, because that's what I do. But when I am with other people, they'll ask to listen to the cussing version because that's all they know and that's what they love to listen to. So I can put myself into those cultures and being in those environments and keep myself guarded and know who I am and be proud of who I am in Jesus and not have to basically, like, I don't have to, like, get myself out of the picture, even in those times, because those people who are listening to that type of music, like, most of them are probably lost and they don't know who they are and they go through struggles, you know, and most of them, they have lives that, some of them didn't have both parents in their house. Some of them didn't grow up in a house. Some of them had to fight for food and some of them had to steal food just to get to where they are at. So, and that's where it leads back to the loving people where they're at and for who they are, not as just someone who sins, because we all sin. Who are we to call someone else's sin, but not call ours a sin?
Yeah, it's
Is
the speck in the log parable in the book of
mm-hmm.
Matthew.
Yeah.
That's really neat. I have such a limited perspective on things, just because I know of my experience and not really in anyone else's.
And that
So
and
that's
that leads
good.
back to the thinking fast and slow with the biases.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and the other one, J. Cole, one of my favorite songs of his is "Love Yours."
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours.
Always going to be a house that's better than the one you got. Always going to
Yeah,
be a girl that's better on the tours. Yeah.
yeah. So, and there's that one, and then there's the one on that album where he talks about um, him and his mom's relationship. It's called Apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
and then I like the Fall Off album he just came out with. That was basically a love album to his wife.
When was that put out?
Just recently at the beginning of the year.
Jeez. Okay, look, so I don't mean this in a negative way when I say he's like I don't want to call him a secular rapper. So like I don't want to like
Well, I mean, I would say he's spiritual, but yes, you can say
or
it's secular music.
at least a conscious rapper, like you said.
Yes.
My whole point with that is like I've been out of the quote unquote secular music game for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
years now. I've just been listening to like a lot of Christian rap music.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll have to go check that out
Yeah.
because again, I do like how people like him and Kendrick, they're at least talking about real stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not condemning anyone for listening to anything else. If you want to listen to Playboy Cardi or Bad Bunny or whatever else, I mean, more power to you. I mean, what you like is what you like. It's just my taste changed whenever my life turned.
Was that during COVID?
No, no, my life changed around 2023, I'd say, is kind of when that change happened, and it's less about like timing. It's more about just my brain changing wavelengths. Like, it really went from, man, this doesn't sound that great, and then not really knowing what I liked for music, and then um
Hmm. Do you
then
think that was a maturity thing or
yeah, it's a little bit of maturity thing, because you start listening to more lyrics. Because back in the day, I didn't songs were just songs. They didn't have any meaning to me. It was just the music behind them. It was just the instrumentation. But now, like, as I got older, started looking into the lyrics, and there are songs that I just don't listen to anymore. Like,
yeah?
what's that song by the Police with Sting? Like,
I'm not
every
sure.
every breath you take, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Like, that song sounds creepy now. It sounds creepy.
Sure. Yeah, when you say it like that.
It sounds creepy.
Yeah.
I don't listen to that type of stuff anymore.
Is Sting rock? Who are they?
Sting. So the Police, it was like 80s pop. Sting was like a famous guitarist and singer for them. So
Okay.
Sting's like a completely separate person. So
I see.
and then so like I listen to country, I'll listen to some pop, I'll listen to alternative music. But like whenever I'm like really in the mood, I'll listen to Haste Today. Haste the Day's a Christian heavy metal band.
Send that to me because I came across this one Christian rock song on TikTok and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard much of that.
It's screamo, so I don't know if you like screamo. Haste the Day is scream.
Wait, what do you mean? Like there's a lot of screaming in it?
It's a scream. It's scream heavy metal.
This one song I had, it has like one scream section.
No, this entire song scream.
You'll just send it to me. I'm curious.
I'll have to send it to you.
I'm curious.
But I listen to Skillet.
Who's that?
You don't know Skillet?
No.
It's like one of the most famous like rock Christian bands of all time.
Really?
They've been around for a long time. I've got most of their albums. I went to Winter Jam and they were there. They were in the main event of that. I've listened to Toby Mac quite a bit.
I like Toby.
Toby's good. I also have some of his son, rest in peace to Shiloh, or Truett. He went by Shiloh though. Rest in peace to him. But I have some of his stuff as well. But he was secular.
Okay.
He passed away of an overdose, unfortunately. But but I have Lecrae, Andy Mineo, Christian Minor, Takashi,
6ix9ine.
No,
I like
Tadashi.
Okay, they said Takashi, like 6ix9ine, Rainbow guy.
Tadashi is, I think he's Hawaiian. He might be Samoan, but like he's in that ring of like Andy Mineo and Trip Lee, if you know who Trip Lee is.
Yeah.
They've done songs together.
Yeah, I like Trip.
If you ever listen to Earthquake, that's Tadashi.
Okay.
So, I'll listen to those type. And I listen to like praise and worship songs too.
Sure.
Jesus Culture is one of my favorites. My favorite by them is Burning Ones.
Okay. You have a very wide like variety of music, so I'm gonna have to get some song suggestions from you.
Well, if I open up my Apple Music, you're gonna be like,
I don't do Apple, but maybe I could still use it.
Well, if I can send you,
I'm on Spotify, but yeah.
If I showed you my song list, like the amount of songs I have, it's like over like 150,000 songs.
Oh geez, I thought I was big balling because I have probably like 9,000 like songs.
Oh,
just you said 150?
It's 150,000.
Goodness gracious, that's.
But
like
I listen to music. Like back in the day when I was like 2020.
Sure.
That was like the heartbreak era.
Okay.
Because I had just broke up with my ex at that time.
Yeah.
So it was like all Juice WRLD. It was all Juice WRLD.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, 2019, yeah, for sure, 2020.
But I had all of his unreleased. I have like 3,000 songs in my playlist from him that were unreleased.
Because he was a big like freestyler, wasn't he? Like he had so many unreleased songs because he would just shoot from the hip a lot.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some songs that have value, and then there's other ones that I just don't listen to anymore.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, my music list is huge because there's stuff that my dad listened to that I listen to. Like, dude, I've got R&B from the 80s and 50s. Like, I've got Billie Holiday, I've got Nat King Cole, I've got Frank Sinatra. Like, I can listen to anything.
I've heard of Frank, but like over half of these artists that you're naming, I have not heard of. So I'm gonna have to be cultured a little bit.
And I'll show you like Teddy Pendergrass. Most people haven't heard of Teddy Pendergrass unless you're from the culture, but like Luther Vandross. So
okay,
I'll send you some stuff. And those are still very good, very impactful songs that are secular. I mean, I don't have a problems listening to some secular stuff as long as it's empowering and it has a message that leads you to good.
Yeah, I want to be able to listen to that stuff, but still come at it through like a Christian lens and be able to filter anything out, because you and I have talked about this with like books, music, any sort of media, where you can still learn valuable things as a follower of Jesus from non-Christian forms of media. But I do think it's
have to be protected.
You still have to be protected and use discernment. Like, okay, I like what they're saying here, but I'm not going to apply that other thing. You know what I mean? It's like a water filter.
Well, so one of Kendrick Lamar's unreleased songs is called Prayer. And this song is like elite writing. elite writing as far as poetry is concerned. So he starts out the song by speaking from the art's point of view. So his first is he's talking from the point of view of the song ABC by the Jacksons.
Okay.
And his father being Michael Jackson, and how Michael Jackson's issues in his life, near the end of his life, tarnished the impact of ABC as a song.
How so? Because I don't know if I've even heard the song ABC.
You've never heard ABC?
It kind of rings a bell.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
So
so go on.
That's a 70s song.
Okay.
But it impacted children. Like, it was a children's song.
Okay.
So, all of those kids were impacted by that song.
And was he like at least framed for like child pedophilia?
At least framed. I'm not gonna like get into it, like, but that
Sure.
specifically, that reason is why he was saying that's why this song was tarnished, was because of the author and how you have to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Because like if Carl Benz was a racist, would you still buy a car? Or if the creator of heart surgery was a murderer, would you still want a heart?
I would still want a heart, yeah.
So that's where you have to separate the art from the artist.
Okay,
because
that makes sense.
Without the artist, and he said this in the song, without the voices of art, this earth would just be a rock. So you need the voices of art, but it's not the art's fault that you put the artist on a pedestal as if they're a god.
And just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with the song itself, right?
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with the song itself.
Okay.
But it's tarnished because of who created it.
Sure.
So it's the same thing. He did another verse, and this time it's the "I Had a Dream" speech. Martin Luther King struggled with infidelity. So now people...
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that they tried to blackmail him for it. So they're trying to use that to kind of tarnish the "I Had a Dream" speech. But Martin Luther King, like everyone else, has mistakes and is human. And you can't put the pure ideas behind the art as the artist's thoughts.
Man, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but like I see a pattern with a lot of like very successful men, even good men, such as MLK, King David, King Solomon in the Old Testament, like a lot of successful men who
struggled with those type of things.
Struggled with adultery, yeah. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think they're human. I mean, and that's the thing, as long as you can repent for your sins and you understand that it was a sin and you try and strive to be better and be better for God, as long as you can repent from them, you're going to be saved. Saul / Paul.
Yeah.
The biggest, he was one of the mass murderers. He
persecuted Christians.
He persecuted them, and then he became one himself. And he was, an apostle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was an actual apostle. I forget the word.
He was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Apostle Paul wrote a majority of the New Testament.
Yeah, so, and he was a murderer at one point. And I think people try to hold what we're seeing in society now in America above all problems. Self-righteousness, and that my opinion is better than yours. And then they forget that there's wars going on in Lebanon, I think it's Lebanon. And then
Iran would be the main.
Well, Iran's the big one, but this one's small. This one's Israel's bombing Lebanon.
Okay.
And then in Nigeria, Christians are getting persecuted.
I've seen that. They're getting slaughtered.
They're getting
left
slaughtered.
and right.
And
now, is that by Is that by like another religion, or is that just the Nigerian government? Do you know?
I don't know if it's the Nigerian government. I think it is like a just like a random rebel group.
Kind of like ISIS, but like not ISIS, a
Mm-hmm.
different group.
Yeah, I don't know if it's religious based. It might be.
Okay.
Um, but you remember the memoirs, right? It's Sierra Leone book where they
Mm,
talked about the Sierra Leone War, the Civil War back in '93. It was like the memoirs of this
no.
kid because we had to learn in English class in English too.
Okay.
So basically, this kid, there was a rebel alliance in Sierra Leone where they had to, they were basically slaughtering women and most children and the men. They were butchering the men and then taking the boy children and turning them into soldiers. So they would have to, because they were so scared, they would have to shoot others and like take them into custody with these big guns.
Jeez.
So you see those type of things, and people take life here in America for granted, as if this is the worst situation we've ever had.
Yeah, dude. I mean, most of us, including myself, have no idea what that kind of life is like.
No,
And
none of us really do.
oh my gosh.
I mean, I can probably say it for most people in the U.S. They have not been to a third world country, and they have not been to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They have not seen what real homeless, brokenness, starving, no water type of life lives in. You know, they don't have clean water in Africa. Well, some parts of it. I'm not going to say everywhere because I've never been. But third world countries, I mean, it's hard to find clean water. And
Yeah, you'll have like malaria, E. coli, and all that stuff
yeah,
around there.
and
Jeez.
we take that kind of stuff for granted here in the U.S. We have clean water.
I think that we can see evidences of brokenness both here in like
Mm-hmm.
Western America, and then also anywhere else in the world, third world countries. Like um, in a country like America, for instance, we have a lot of blessings
Mm-hmm.
that other parts of the world don't have.
Yeah.
But then you'll have things like, okay, we're taking it for granted, we're spoiled, we're arrogant, maybe we're very
Mm-hmm.
lukewarm because we're so comfortable. But then in other sides of the world, it's literally broken.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see that all around.
Yeah.
I don't think you can escape it.
And if you look in the Ukraine and Russian war, like I know everyone here wants to like demonize Russians, but those soldiers really didn't want to do that. The Russian soldiers are forced to be in that military, so they don't want anything to do with it. Most of those sons don't want, and their parents, their mothers, having to hear that their child has passed in a war that they never wanted to be in. And you can look at Ukraine's. We have one of our pastors. He was going over there quite a bit to help them, and they have a church. We have a church out that we're connected to, and they were hearing bombs in the middle of the night.
Jeez. Yeah, well, and you can also look at World War II, Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can ask, do you think a lot of those soldiers wanted to do what they were doing as well?
Probably not. I mean, I don't.
Probably a person by person basis thing, maybe.
Yeah, it would be a person by person. I think, probably the lower end people didn't, but the people who got higher and higher into the system and are ranked higher and wanted that power, they probably did.
Start to get a little nasty.
Yeah, probably due to the temptation thing, But no, I don't think all German people were wanting that to happen, because let's be honest, no one can be that evil all the time. Even after, if they did at one point want to do that, and they were doing that even after, I mean, some of those people probably were haunted by some of the actions they took, and some do it out of fear of
Getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to be like a powerful, prominent figure in this world, but not lose your soul or become nasty in the process? Like, I don't know. Could have.
Not in today's age, because a lot of leadership is based on money now. And that's like a big temptation nowadays. I mean, it's not even just world leaders. I mean, even I, like, why am I doing the job I'm at? Well, to make more money. You know, it's just to the point where, are you going to let that take over your entire life? Are you going to do the things necessary to keep yourself connected to Jesus? Use money as a tool, not as your idol.
Sure.
Um, so I don't know if you can really be, and I'm talking at the big level. I'm talking like federal level, because like you have local leaders, like here in our city. I'm not going to say our aldermen are bad people, and I'm not going to say that they're corrupt. Maybe one or two could be. Who knows? I don't know them all that well.
Yeah, me neither.
But most of them seem, when they get into it, they're really just trying to help the community, because it's the community they live in. That's the same with the mayor, and that's the same with the police force. And I'm not saying all people, all Christians are bad people. They just do bad things. And the same with police. Not all, like most police are not bad. There are some bad apples, but people make it out to seem like they're all pretty terrible, but it's definitely not that way.
Oh yeah, thought experiment. You take away all law enforcement for a month and see what happens.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to that bias that I was talking about. I have people who live down in Bellefontaine who's had horrible experiences with just the police in general.
Sure.
And that forms their beliefs. Whether that's the right belief to have about all police, obviously not, but that bias really steps in to make things, your perception of the world, tainted.
Yeah, and just to kind of hammer home the point too, we need law enforcement to enforce to enforce order, and also to help. Why? Well, because we have brokenness in our world. If we were still in the Garden of Eden, before Adam and Eve sinned and everything was perfect, we wouldn't need police officers. We wouldn't need firefighters. Like, none of that. There'd be no need for that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's still a way to preserve and provide a service.
Yeah.
As a byproduct of what we.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's everything. You could say that about pretty much anything.
Sure. You have chiropractors because we have physical ailments and injuries. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just another byproduct.
We have massage therapists for a reason. We have, chiropractors for a reason. We have doctors for a reason. We have dentists for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We've got all these things, but are they all good? No. But, most of them aren't bad. They get an education for a reason, but, if you're tempted by Satan to do things that are evil, that's how you fall into that trap and that's how you get those bad apples. But those bad apples in this case can be changed. I used to say that people don't change; they just show you who they really are, and that's not the case.
People can absolutely change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Caleb, I want to switch gears for a little bit, and kind of pick your brain on like long-term goals for yourself.
Yeah.
Whether that's career, family, social circles, mm-hmm. 5, 10, 50 years, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Like, what are some of your longer term visions for your future?
So, I thought about what my dream is when I was 23, and that's been the 3-year journey, right? My passion is building relationships with people, and furthermore, in 23, that was when I was working at Amazon, and I was building friendships with mostly African Americans, but there were other communities as well, but it was primarily African American, right? My goal was to bridge the gap so I can understand their culture more. so I could understand them more, so I could actually be friends better to them and serve them better. Now that is being taken from not just from their culture, but I'm doing that with everyone now. You know, I'm trying to serve them better, be a good servant to them. How can I help you? And that's kind of where it is. I just want to help people. I love helping people. Unfortunately, I learned the lesson pretty early in high school. You get a car and people are gonna start asking you all the time for rides. I bet you had the same thing.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, I got a nice truck, and I'm 5 deep in the truck. Yeah.
So they start taking advantage of it, and that's the only reason they're there. So you got to kind of like keep yourself like not necessarily guarded, but understand the situation.
Well, is that something you're experiencing now, or you're just reflecting on in high school?
From the past? That was a lesson I learned back then. It's not something I have to learn now. I don't really have that many like friendships. Like I think I can maybe count on one hand how many friendships I truly have. So it's not necessarily to say that it's a bad thing to keep yourself like aware, not like cautious, I would say, not guarded, but yeah, just help people, help people, let them know about Jesus and know that Jesus loves them no matter what. Like it's unconditional,
For real.
That's a passion I have. I have other passions, within 5 to 10 years. I would love to have a family. I would love to be married. In 5 to 10 years, I would love to be, not necessarily in the job that I'm at now specifically, because we talked about the effect of the moral and ethics about what I do right now, that I don't feel satisfied with what this is.
Yeah, you still want to be at peace with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. But, I don't mind being in sales. But I want to be doing it for the right reasons and doing it the right way.
Yeah, you can still do sales for a lot of other opportunities.
Yeah, so I love to do that type of stuff. I love the job outside of the ethical portion of it. I mean, everyone there is cool. Everyone is nice. Is that the place where I want to be the rest of my life? Probably not. But then again, sales wouldn't be my first choice.
What would be your first choice?
If I could do podcasting and commentary on sports, I would.
Sure.
And then just have music in the background for that. And then I've thought about doing other stuff like affiliate marketing. So you can get get affiliate link for Amazon, and then you can make your own website, and then they click that link and buy those items from you, get a commission off of it. So like,
yeah, I've heard of that. I actually have a few like ambassador deals where I'll make 10 or 15% like if you use my promo code. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm sure with that, if you market it well, you could make more.
Yeah. And then, airdrop shipping and then those things, if it works monetarily, and not that it has to work monetarily, but the big goal is to not use that to fund me, but use that to fund nonprofits.
Okay.
Ooh. To be able to build into St. Louis City, reinvest in the roads to fix those god awful potholes.
Yeah, rebar and the overpass, and oh my goodness.
And reinvest in fixing East St. Louis back to its heyday back in the 1930s. Be able to bring people back there and actually make it a safe space. Same with St. Louis, in general.
Have you met anyone else who has similar desires in that similar area?
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, man. I think that's great. Just I hope that you continue to link up and make connections with other people who are also on board with that.
Yeah, hopefully we can find some people. We have so our church group called Canvas Network. Right now we have someone down there that we're friends with who makes food for, like, literally people will just hand him food and he'll cook and give food to the people who lost their homes down in the tornado area.
Nice.
We go down to the Ville every once in a while. We were helping that school down there. I can't remember the name of it, but couple 3-4 years ago, we handed out turkeys for Thanksgiving to all the families. And then, we were giving them all coats and backpacks and giving them all school supplies and getting them snacks for their map testing and stuff like that. So, I love doing that type of stuff, helping the community out. And, if I start small, start with Wright City, I mean, by all means, I'll start here because, there is some brokenness here too.
It's everywhere in some way.
It's everywhere in some way. And, just be able to give back to the community, to people who are less fortunate than me.
I like that. I also, man, dude, I used to be hard-hearted towards tithing to a church just because I had heard a few select stories of, corrupt churches, corrupt pastor, whatever, and I had this like misconception, man, like if I tithe to a church, like they're gonna waste my money and stuff like that. But then my heart began to soften, and I began tithing what I could, not a substantial amount. And yeah, like hearing stories like that of your church's ministry, who's using that money for good purposes, like providing food, clothing, and whatever else, I think that's amazing. And with that said, I did hear of a church not too far from here. Corrupt pastor used the church's money to basically go on an expensive vacation with his family.
Is that the Maryland Heights Church?
No, but I've heard
Grace Church or whatever that is.
No, but I've heard stuff about that too.
Yeah.
But no, this one's I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
But anyways, I think that's messed up. Like if you want to go on if you're a pastor and you want to go on expensive vacation, that should come out of your paycheck. It shouldn't come out of your members tithing.
Well, and also I don't know if you heard about like Hillsong United Church, like their pastor.
No, where is that located?
I think that's Australia, but that's a big church. That's where Hillsong, the
isn't that it's a band, right?
Yeah, but that's also a church. And
is the band affiliated with that church?
Yes.
Okay.
And their pastor got arrested for something. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, pastors are given a bad rep because of the bad apples, just like the rest.
Just like the cops and anyone else. Interesting. Maybe it's like 1% or 5%, but
yeah, you always hear people go, "Oh, here comes the priest." And you're like, "Well, that's another bad rep."
Yeah, whether it's misusing funds or cheating on their wife or whatever,
or the other stuff.
Oh yeah. Dude, man, it sucks.
I won't mention it, but it's heartbreaking. That's really the part that hurts me, is that they're using God's name to do something absolutely disgusting.
And you know what? A lot of people I've talked to who are turned off by Christianity, it's because of something like that. Either they got hurt by someone who said they were Christian, or they went to a church and pastor did this, or youth pastor did that, and they haven't been back to church in years.
Yeah, I think my mom was talking about something with that. Like one of her coworkers was the same way. Like she got hurt by the church, and she's so closed off to hearing about it. So all mom needs to do is just be there for her. Not in a Christian way. Just be like Jesus. Just take your time, love her where she's at, and she'll come around eventually. And she did. She has come around eventually. So,
that's good.
Yeah, so that type of thing, that's where I get my perspective from, is my parents. And that's it's the same thing with my dad. My dad at one point was traveling around the country. I mean, he went to Sacramento, and there's tons of people who just don't have homes. It's like, it's one of the heavy places with homelessness. Like there are people living in tents on the sidewalk all the way down blocks.
I've really appreciated hearing your perspective and your approach as well to evangelizing in a sense. Like I see some of these pretty well known like street preachers or like Christian evangelists, and I do think that there's fruit in what they do, but like kind of hearing your approach on it, it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to think that, you know, the thing about what you would consider sin for other people, if they don't know Jesus, like most people would say that, you know, if they do know Jesus, it's worse for us to sin than it is for them because they don't know Jesus, so they wouldn't know better.
Yeah, I'm reading about that in Romans right now. In a
Mm-hmm.
sense, it's like those who are not following Jesus, but they are in sin. It's like, yes, they're walking in sin just like anyone else, but if they're not aware of it, then it's like God isn't going to hold it to them the same way that he would hold it to a Christian
Mm-hmm.
if a Christian was doing that same sin because they know better.
And that's goes back to the judging. You know, judging is a sin.
Yeah,
You know, judging them based on their sins. You know, that's and they're doing it like blatantly, like believing they are righteous, they are self-righteous, and they are
sure.
better than you.
And that's not a get out of jail free card for the non-Christian who is,
Mm-hmm.
continuing to live in a lifestyle of sin. It's not like, oh, you guys are good, just, keep on doing that for the
Mm-hmm.
rest of your life. But again, the Lord isn't going to hold it to them the same way.
Yeah, because it's not our job to do the work. It's our job to try and help them open the space for God to move because it's God's the only one who can ever help save them. You
Yeah.
know, God's the only one who can change their heart. We can't force them to do it. You know, and if you're trying to judge them, like not even just like as it a sin, if you're trying to judge them, it's not going to bring them closer. It's just going to push them further away. You know, the more you try and insult them and condemn them, the more they're going to push themselves away because that's what gives that title, that perception that Christians are, you know, what would be the word?
Christians are hypocrites or
Hypocritical. Yeah,
yeah.
you know, and I'll be honest, a lot of us are hypocritical.
Dude, I'm hypocritical at
Yeah.
times. I the last two episodes before this one comes out was about like being a light in your workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember a few days after I put that episode out, I was doing something for my grandpa. He needed some help.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of came in that morning with like a not so good attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and it had nothing to do with him. It was like personal stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I was dealing with. But like all day while I was working for him, I didn't have a very good attitude. And after that, I reflected and I thought, I just felt kind of ashamed because I felt like a hypocrite. I'm like, man, I literally just put out these two episodes about being a light and doing this and that, and working as an
Mm-hmm.
act of service and helping one another,
Mm-hmm.
and then I come in with a bad attitude. Like, what's wrong
Mm-hmm.
with me?
Yeah, I don't know if I had that specific struggle, but I do have struggle with like processing emotions because there are times where it's like I just wake up and I'm angry. Just wake up angry.
I'm not like laughing because that's like,
But it's weird. It's weird. Why would you wake up angry? What's the point of that?
I'll ask you.
Well, I still don't know. But you got to process through them.
I empathize with it. I think it's just the way you said it that made me chuckle.
Yeah.
No.
But that's the thing. It was like there are things your brain does that's just weird. You know, you could be angry just because your chemical balance is out of.
Hmm.
I could doesn't mean you're mad at anyone. It's just you're having a bad day and it started out horrible.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out a way to rebalance and rejuvenate yourself through Jesus to try and help you, stay in a calm manner. And it's a struggle. I mean, processing emotions is probably my biggest downfall.
Do you like writing?
I used to write lyrics, but I don't really write anymore.
I just asked because writing and journaling, I love doing that, and like especially with.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Oh man, I'm
I
trying.
probably should. I just don't. I normally just process through thoughts. I'll sit and bask in my feelings and emotions, and then like just process to get to the root of them.
I'll definitely bask. It feels like I'm just like
basking
in loser sauce. You know, I'm just feeling so sorry for myself. And
yeah, there was a time where I felt that way too. There was a time where I was just, oh, pity me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a time in high school that it was that way. I mean, really, it really felt like I didn't have anyone, especially when I lost the two people that were most impactful at that time. I made the one mistake where I was.
Was this the friend who you sort of like condemned or pointed out with the?
No.
Okay, no.
This one was. I can't even say I really made like that big of a mistake because it wasn't that big of a mistake. So this guy's sister got in a really bad car accident. And she was in the hospital, and him and his family were like really angry at the other person. And like,
was the other person driving?
The other person in the other car.
Oh, okay.
And she was sitting in the passenger seat, and she had her legs on the dashboard, so it like ruined her pelvic muscle, and like everything from her lower extremities were just
right
destroyed. And I remember looking on social media, and he was angry, really angry. And I can't be mad at him for being angry. That's not the thing. But like, he was really like throwing out some threats out there. Like, he was
to the other driver.
Mm-hmm. Without that other driver even seeing it, because he can't see it. So I threw a comment in there like, just maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he didn't mean it. Maybe it was an accident. Like, you don't need to like, but he was in the middle of grieving. He was in the middle of processing those emotions, and I inserted myself. And that's what kind of killed our friendship, because not only did I do it the first time, he confronted me on Snapchat, and because I did not have the social skills at the time, because like I said, I was homeschooled from kindergarten through 9th grade. I didn't really have very many social skills at the time. You know, this is 3 years into being able to be social with other people outside of my family, really, because I was really sheltered as a kid. You know, I doubled down.
So like fighting fire with fire.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not that I was combative, and it wasn't that I was trying to insult him. It was like, dude, you're being irrational here. And I still haven't fully processed that, because I did talk to him after that, and we were fine, but we were never close again. Like, our friendship was never the same.
I don't know what you said on the social media post, but by the way you described it, it sounds like you were trying to put some fire on the flame, or excuse me, to water on the flames.
I was trying to de-escalate. Yes. And if you don't know your friends well enough, you should not be trying to de-escalate if you don't know what you're doing.
Do you think it would have been better if you had said something similar but over Snapchat instead of on the post? Maybe.
Well, I think part of it was his mother kind of influenced it, because it was on his mother's post. Like, his family is quite the angry group just in general. But part of it was that. Part of it was how I said it. How I said it probably came off as pretty ignorant. I'm a 17-year-old boy. I don't really articulate very well at that point. And also, you know, I just didn't know situational awareness, you know. So that happened. But, you know, there's the other end of it where there's another guy, you know, his brother, because you played baseball with him. We talked about him earlier. He was a class of 2019. I don't know if I really want to say his name on here, but I'll say his last name, Waters.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, sorry, I was having a brain fart.
No, you're good. So there's the other aspect where he got himself into a relationship, and we've seen this a couple different times.
You talking about
older, younger? The newer one, she was younger.
No, which sibling? Which sibling? The older or younger one?
Young or older.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's older one.
Got it.
And he had two really bad relationships that again got into. And the first one was why he graduated early, a semester early, was because that went sour super quick and he didn't know how to handle it.
Okay.
And unfortunately, me and him have had this conversation, and I'm not condemning him for it, but he has autism. So he doesn't there are times where he can't process some of these things. So he needed someone along the way to kind of help him, and he didn't want his mom to do it because he pushed his mom out the way for the second relationship when he decided he wanted to up and move to another city that was almost an hour away. And he had me still there, so I would drive up there and go talk to him, and they broke up, and he couldn't pay for the house anymore. She took all the stuff that he bought for herself.
Oh man.
And then so we were cool for a good 2-3 years system there. We a little gap. We were hanging out all the time, almost every weekend, And then he brought her back into his life. And I know he knows that he was in the wrong, because as soon as he brought her back into his life, he blocked me as soon as it happened, even though we were close. But because he knew what I would say.
Guilty conscience right there.
And I came off there as angry because
rightfully so, though. I don't know how you handled it, but I will say at least your emotion itself is valid, because I'm assuming that was one of your better friends. And then he blocks you for some chick that, left, took his stuff. It's not.
Took advantage of him.
Yeah.
And now the only reason he wants her back in his life is because he felt lonely.
And at that time, I'm sure you're thinking, really, dude, you're going to block me? You're choosing this woman over me, one of your best friends?
Well, it wasn't really that. It's, why are you choosing someone who meant you harm? She literally went to the police to put out a report on you as a harassment report.
Oh, wow.
And then put a trespassing on you, so you went to prison. And that was the night that set me off too. Because
oh geez, I didn't know all that.
Well, so he told me that he was going to see his dad because his dad got hurt. And I just played along because I was like, he's probably doing something else, but he doesn't want to tell me. Okay. I brought him out there, and it was actually, he was trying to trespass on his girlfriend's property, on his ex-girlfriend's property.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's too far.
That was 2 years before. And I told him, if you ever, they told me I could have been arrested for accessory because of that whole thing, even though I didn't know anything about it. And I told him that I was yelling at him through the phone, you ever do that again, I'm never, this is your last chance. I'm not
putting you in a not so good position.
Yeah. And then he blocked me and went back with this girl.
Are they still together? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
And I don't care.
It's
gotten to the point where I don't care.
Do you and him still talk at all? Are you guys better?
Absolutely not. I don't talk to him. I think the last time I talked to him was a little around 3.5 years ago. So he tried to label me as a racist because his girlfriend is black.
Okay.
And he did that to his mom because she didn't like her, and it had nothing to do with her skin tone.
Sure.
It had everything to do with her morals and how she treated him.
Yeah, so he's attacking your guys' character in a false way rather than facing the issue itself and what you guys really mean. Okay.
And that's what he did. And then there was one night he had called me to have a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had we started that conversation. He handed the phone to his girlfriend, and she started trying to flame me, so I hung up. And that was the last time I ever talked to him.
Man. Well, I'll be praying for that. I mean, I don't know if your guys' relationship will ever be restored, but I'll at least pray for some sort of.
I don't pray for restoration. I don't want that chapter in my life to ever come back because I don't need it in my life. I don't need the negativity. But what I do want to pray for is him to find his person, find his purpose in life, and find his way around life in general. and what works for him.
That, and also too, maybe some sort of like reconciliation, maybe like I'll be praying that the Lord puts it on his heart, whether he ever comes to you or not, that he at least realizes, all right, man, like I could have done this better to Caleb or with my mom, whatever.
Yeah, I can understand that. I really don't want reconciliation, to be honest.
Why?
Because it just isn't in the cards, because
when I say that real quick, I just want to be clear on what I mean. I don't mean that you guys become friends again or anything like that.
Okay, so then yes, if
just like a mutual sign of respect, like, hey, I'm sorry for what I did.
Yeah, that's fine, but I already told him, and I wish the best for you, but I'm not bringing you back in my life. You hurt me 3 times, and I'm not doing it again.
Totally. Like for instance, I can think of when I was in middle school or high school. I it's not that I had a lot of different girlfriends, but I was a very flirtatious guy towards a lot of different girls in our school.
Well, that's just your personality.
Well,
it was your personality then.
It was my personality for sure.
Yeah, with the Baker Mayfield jersey.
Oh, dude. Anyways, man, I'm not fond of some of the decisions I made. I was very selfish, and I didn't understand the repercussions of certain decisions and word choices and all that. So I would say that there are still various girls that maybe I had like a quote unquote relationship with or had an interest in, but maybe I hurt them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And like to this day, I've never like apologized. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, maybe at some point in the future there, like we run into each other, and there is just like a, hey, like, I just want to say, long ago, 10 years ago, like, I'm sorry for doing that. That doesn't mean that, oh, I want to get with them. It's just, hey, I recognize in the past I was stupid, I hurt you. I'm sure you may have forgot about it, but I just want to tell you sorry.
I did the same thing with my ex, the one that cheated on me twice.
Okay.
I sent a long, super long paragraph, like it was like 3 paragraphs long, and because at the time I was doing self-reflection over the way I was thinking, so I went through an entire apology. I was like, by the end of it, I was like, I hope you have a wonderful life. I hope your marriage goes absolutely flawless. I hope everything that you set as your goals that you have ever told me, I hope they all go amazing. Have yourself a wonderful life. I just needed to get this apology out of the way, so I can be at peace of mind that I got it off of my chest, and have a good rest of your life. And then I deleted the contact, deleted everything. I think we both have each other blocked on everything else, but I sent that one thing and left it at that. And I've done that with most people that I haven't been able to do that with the friend that I did like try and de-escalate. I haven't done that with them because I've never gotten the opportunity to do that. But everyone else that I've ever can think of that I made mistakes towards, I definitely apologized for them.
That's good. That's a good way to go about it.
And it's not to reconcile the relationship. It's just to understand that you made a mistake and you're growing from it.
And the mature thing to do would be to apologize if there's an opportunity,
and leave it at the apology.
Yeah.
That's the unconditional aspect of the apology. It's not to bring anything back. It's not to save anything of a friendship or a relationship. It's just to man up and understand that you made a mistake and apologize because you understand that you made the mistake and it probably hurt you in the moment, and it probably had you go through some obstacles through your life that were harder than they needed to be just because of one simple mistake on my end. So just apologizing for that, and then letting it be.
Yeah, kind of while we're on, like, in this room, in this area of conversation, what are some ways in which you've changed from when you were in high school? So, like, there might be some people that you and I went to school with that see this podcast. From 14 to 18-year-old Caleb to how old are you now? 25. In the last decade-ish, how have you changed in some ways?
Well, I don't curse like a sailor anymore.
Okay.
That was a weird time too. So we were in football, and that was that thing where you're trying to make yourself seem cooler than what you are.
Oh yeah, you're hard.
Mm-hmm. So
I did the same thing, brother. It's all good.
Yeah, so I don't do that anymore. I don't react as much anymore.
I can see that. Go on.
You instead of reacting to a situation, I problem solve the situation and kind of process feelings before I do anything. I kind of go into that mode where I want to process all of the information and all of the emotions before I do anything with it, because I don't like to make mistakes. It's my biggest downfall. Like everything I think about, all of my thought process is how not to make a mistake, and I'm going to make a mistake. So that was the biggest change. I don't react. I respond. I would say I'm not as outgoing as I used to be. And part of that was COVID. Because that's when the depression stage hit. So I'm less outgoing than I used to be, and not to say that I'm not, but I'd say in high school I could just walk up to next to someone and just talk to them. Didn't care. Just have a conversation, and you've seen that before. You were walking in the hallways and I would come up right next to you and talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't do that as much anymore.
Now, real quick, do you think that's because of a habit that was built by like COVID and quarantine, or do you think that's maybe like anxiety or something else?
No, I think it's the adult in me having situational awareness. There are times where you're butting into conversations. So, yeah, I'm not like pushing myself into a conversation with someone if they don't want to have it.
Okay.
If you kind of understand where that's coming from. So, because there are times where, that might be annoying. I'll walk up to you and start having a conversation. You don't want to have a conversation.
I see. So it's not so much fear of having a conversation.
Yeah, no.
The awareness.
No, I can talk to anyone and I can have a conversation with almost anyone perfectly fine. It's just situational awareness of when to and when not to. So that's kind of where growth came in. I'd say in certain situations, I'm slightly more mellowed out. I used to be like a very angry person. My mom can tell you, my mom was at home with me and I was homeschooling for a long time. And I was a very angry kid at that time. I had a hole in one of the walls because I put my fist up against it. And I think that's still there.
So, you guys got to repair that drywall at some point.
Yeah, I'll have to fix that myself before I leave. But yeah, just kind of like growing. I love to grow. I'm not a big LeBron fan, but if you've ever listened to Mind the Game, his podcast, he always says like you have to love the process. You have to love the growth, the hard work, the process. And I love the process of growing. Now, there are aspects I don't like actually processing emotions, like the painful ones, and actually going through the deeper traumas of life. I hate doing that. But I love the process of growing and learning. And I didn't in high school. I hated learning.
That's a very good thing, because in our microwave culture, man, we just want things to be done like that.
Mm-hmm.
And another way to bring that to life is, so I visited family in Oklahoma earlier this week,
mm-hmm.
and that's about a 7-hour drive from, here in Missouri,
mm-hmm.
where we're located. And rather than just looking at it from point A to point B, okay, Wright City, Missouri to Oklahoma, and the rest of it being a blur. What happened in between? Like, what was the meat, the cheese, and the veggies of that sandwich? Well, on those 7 hours, I sent some voice memos to various people in my circle. I hopped on a phone call. I listened to a podcast. I listened to some music. I had silent time. I prayed. Like, I did all these different things. So after those 7 hours during that journey, I'm a slightly more intelligent person, or I'm in a different place with God. I've evolved on that journey. I just wanted to bring that to life.
And also, you just get to see nature.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of nature, very little city.
And when you like, there are times where I'll be sitting on the porch, right? And I will just literally just stare at the leaves, like blowing on the trees with the air in my face, and just like, God did this.
We got this window right now. I mean, it's nice.
Beautiful. It's beautiful, and the wonders of the world. People take advantage of it. I was never a person who liked. Well, I mean, I can't say I didn't like nature, but I was never a nature person. I'd rather be on the concrete playing basketball, or in the grass playing football.
Sure.
Wouldn't want to be just sitting and stop, But, if we talk about Sabbath, the place of resting, everyone's go, 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 go. You got to take time to stop, to rest, to slow. That's very, very, very hard to do when you're in the Western culture that's wanting everything productive.
Oh, yeah. I understand. I understand. This podcast is just something I do on the side. I have a lot of other things, too. I feel like I'm in the fast lane a lot.
Yeah, you're in the fast lane when you're teaching kids or subbing for kids.
Oh, dude, yeah. You got to be quick, and there's always...
right here's Mr. Wiley 2.0.
Mr. Wiley.
Yeah, the old guy with the glasses.
It rings a bell. Yeah. Was he a sub?
Yeah, the guy who couldn't hear very well. Had the glasses, super old guy.
I remember Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice was another old guy with glasses.
Almost bald. Like, he was like in his 80s.
Okay.
Mr. Wiley.
Huh.
Yeah, and then I think Mr. Rice, and then there was another guy who was like a Kentucky basketball fan. He was from Kentucky.
Oh, I can't remember his name. I remember him.
Yeah.
Is it raining right now? Or am I tripping?
No, it's not raining.
It's not?
It's sunny.
What do I... Hold on. Do you see like it looks like water droplets falling down? Do you see it?
Yeah. Is that sprinkler?
Let me look at the lake. No, it's not raining. I guess we have a sprinkler on. I don't know. I just thought I saw like water droplets.
Unless it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. We're just looking out my window, guys, and I thought it was raining, but it's not raining. It's actually bright and sunny.
It might be pollen. Who knows?
That's a lot of pollen.
I know.
Hey.
It's going around, but yeah, it could be anything at this point.
Anyways,
there's no water droplets on the window.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't even look like it's hitting the grass.
Yeah. So
what the heck? I'm so confused.
It is what it is.
I wish we could show you guys. All right, Caleb, I want to ask you a few quick like theology type of questions. I mean, we've been talking about God and Jesus a lot, but first off, who do you think Jesus is?
On the face value, he's our savior. He's the one who saved us. On a deeper scale level, he's our rabbi. And on an even deeper level, Jesus is our understanding of who God is. Because the way Jesus lived on earth is how God is in heaven.
Yes.
So when you think of what Jesus did and why we want to live like Jesus, you'll kind of find those answers of who Jesus is. And the deeper meaning of it would be Jesus was a disciple himself. So he was God's disciple. and then he discipled others, and then that spread
Yeah, I
to
mean,
the Enlightenment era.
God in the flesh. That's a good answer. Um, so whether you live to be 25, 55, 135, all of our lives are going to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
When the lights cut out for the final time, what do you think happens?
I don't know if my dad wants me to tell this story, but my dad lost his Grandma Betty, when it was quite a few years ago. I think I was like 12 or 13, right? And so she basically passed and came back and then passed again.
How long did she come back for?
Maybe a couple minutes. But she was like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's all white." And she had seen heaven one previous time. She was at church, and I forget what happened, but she was like, "Where's the window?" There was a window up there. It was all white and beautiful, and she had seen heaven a couple of times. And then Dad also has one of his instructors at Rhema, Brother Hagen. That's his dad, but basically he had a dream of going down to hell like 3 times. There's a whole story. I'll send you a link to that.
Was that because he, like, based on his lifestyle, he was on the road, or do you think that was
I
just like
don't
a?
really know because he was a child, so I don't remember the entire thing. I haven't listened to it in quite a while.
You
But
said this was the child of a teacher?
no, he was a kid. The Brother Hagen
Okay.
was a kid when this happened to him, when he felt this experience. So I do believe in afterlife, whether it's hell or heaven. But I'm still searching for my answer of what I think it might be. And yes, I am listening to the Bible and I'm reading the Bible.
What do you mean by you're still searching for your answer of what it might be?
I'm searching for what it will be for me, not what it is like on a grand level of you're going to see this and this and this in heaven. It's what is it going to be like for me when I get there? Because how am I going to feel to see my grandfather, who was my best friend when I lost my 5? What is it going to be like when I get to see my great grandfather, who I lost when I was 13? You know, what is it going to be like when I get to see my sister that I lost when I was 15? You know, I don't know. But I'm still searching those type of things out, basically. And not to say that I won't like what I see in heaven. I understand what the Bible tells us, what we'll see. But the no suffering aspect, you know, I yearn for that type of stuff. You know, I don't want to suffer. I don't want to have to cry. You know, eternal life. I want to be with Jesus for the rest of my life. But I'm still searching the deeper answers for myself, because I'm doing the critical thinking aspect, trying to figure out the soul answer for myself. You know, I was talking to my parents, you know, when I had Christianity identity crisis, and I felt ashamed. I talked to my mom about it. She's like, everyone goes through that. Almost everyone goes through that. You're not the only one.
What do you mean by identity crisis?
I didn't know if I believed in Christianity yet. I was still searching for who I was, what I believed in. And my parents are the type of people to say, I don't want you to believe in Jesus because I believe in Jesus. I want you to believe in Jesus because you believe in Jesus.
It's your own faith.
It's your own faith, yeah. So, you know, whether I was an atheist or I was, you know, Buddhist, or I was, you know, whatever else, you know, my parents were going to love me no matter what, but I had to find my own path because it is my path. So, and I'm taking that path for figuring out what I think of afterlife, because at one point I was scared to die. You know, that was a big fear. And I had a deep conversation with my mom at probably around 10 or 12. And then mom kind of put it into like, well, if you pass, I mean, you'll go to heaven. Like, is that really the worst thing in the world to pass? Because you wouldn't be suffering anymore. So no. What is my biggest fear? Being paralyzed from the neck down.
Very valid, but why?
Because you wouldn't be able to really socialize without having to rely on other people to do it for you.
Yeah, you got to be pushed around in a wheelchair.
You lose that independence, or you're stuck in your bedroom all day. You got to have everyone else do everything for you. Eat, sleep, go to the bathroom, watch TV, like any of that. You know, that would be my biggest fear. That's what I told my mom at 12.
Is that still your biggest fear?
No.
Okay, it's changed.
It has changed. And it comes with the personality. So I took the Enneagram test.
I've heard of that.
I'm a 6.
What does that mean?
I am the loyalist.
Which means
you're loyal to someone until they betray you. Once they betray you, you want to have nothing to do with them. That's basically face value. But also their biggest fear is to not have people like them. You can see it. You can see it.
Well, I'm kind of, okay, first part, loyal until someone betrays you. Totally understand that. Would you elaborate on the last part that you said?
Yeah, my identity is not defined by Christ. It is defined at what other people see in me. That's how it was when I was in high school. That was a whole thing where that I was changing my own image because of what I thought other people thought of me. So that would be the part where my biggest fear is not having relationships, is being alone.
That's a good fear. You're not a hermit.
Yeah. So that's a 6, and then they have wings. I don't remember what my wings are. I'll have to figure that one out, but I'll let you know on that part. But like, there's like some fun stuff about that. Like when I get angry, I'll scrub dishes just to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's the way to get out of being angry. It was like
man.
one of the biggest things about being a 6. It was like these quirky little things.
Yeah.
But then, like, if people want to talk about zodiac signs, I don't know if I actually believe in zodiac signs or not. But I mean, God put the constellations out there, so who knows? It might mean something. But I'm a Gemini.
Okay.
And Geminis are known to be able to like change their personality. They can become any of the other zodiacs.
Sure.
So
so yes, like as far as like constellations, yeah, I mean, God put all the stars in the sky. I don't know what specific reason God had for making the specific constellations and all that. That's a mystery. Just as like, why are there so many different planets if Earth is the only one humans live on? I don't have answers to that.
Well, I don't. That's another story. I don't think we're alone.
Okay.
So
real quick, I just want to stay on the zodiac signs. Like, and I'm not condemning anyone who does believe in that. I personally don't think they have meaning.
I personally don't either, but I also don't condemn people who do. So I just let them know for their perspective, because I have read into it, because it is interesting to read into that type of information, because you can't talk to other people about those things without having the knowledge of what it is.
Okay.
So it's not that I personally believe in them, but if other people do, that's another way for me to connect to other people, is if they do believe in that, I can, lay it out for them what it is.
Like what you were saying with the music earlier. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Do you want to talk about, you said something about a story and you don't think we're the only creatures out there?
I mean,
do you believe in aliens?
I believe in extraterrestrials. I don't think that we're the only ones out here. So the universe is so vast, you can't even tell if there's.
It is. I've been torn, and I like, as far as like Area 51, I I've heard there's evidence.
Yeah,
I've heard there's been UFO
I
sightings.
mean, I'll send you a link to a book.
Okay.
It's called Roswell Before Roswell, MO41.
Now Roswell, that's where Area 51 is, right?
Roswell's in New Mexico. That was the 1947 crash. That was the first UFO thing.
And isn't that where Area 51 is?
No, Area 51's in Nevada.
Oh, okay.
No, supposedly there was an alien UFO crash in Cape Girardeau.
When?
1941. So it was like 6 years before Roswell.
Now that is the start of World War One. Interesting.
No, World War One was like
World War Two. Sorry,
World War Two started 39, so it was in the middle of World War.
Okay, true. What year did America get involved? Did they get because Pearl Harbor happened?
41.
Pearl Harbor happened in 41, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when America got involved.
Yeah, so the UFO happened in it's like August or June of 41, somewhere around there.
Cape Girardeau, where SEMO is.
Yeah, so it was actually near the airport. So it was near the airport where the airport is now. It was like it happened in a field, and there was a pastor at a really big church down in Cape Girardeau. It's not a thing anymore. It was called Red Star or something or other. But it was a reverend, and they called him out for last rites. And police and firefighters were out there. And
Hang on, they called him out for what?
Last rites.
Last rites? What do you mean?
It's like when you pray over people who are passing.
Oh, okay.
So last rites. So he went out there, and it was 3 aliens. And he looked into the alien spacecraft, and it was like holographic emblems and markings. And supposedly, and this is all what you hear from people down in Cape. Like this is from the part of the family and around Cape Girardeau, and that's what the book is. It's a research. So he does that, and they get a picture of it. It was like a gray alien with black eyes, like 3 of them that were kind of small. And the one was still like sort of alive, but he passed like pretty quickly after. But the other 2 were already gone. So they got 2. This photographer got 2 pictures, and he gave one to the Reverend. So the Reverend had it. He told his wife one time, and he never spoke about it again after that.
Is this all in the book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, and this guy, this researcher has done podcasts on this stuff as well. So it's like, I'll send you some of the links, but basically, and my dad's heard about this too. Like this started going around the 90s, but it started going up again in around 2017. But so apparently they had someone move in the next door, and it was like a Secret Service agent, and he came into the house like hanging out with everyone and
next door to the Reverend. Okay,
like, moved in there. He asked to see the picture. He saw the picture. He was hanging out with them, stole the picture. They never seen the picture again, but he moved out the next day. So
yeah, man, I've always thought about that. Like whether it's a new neighbor that moves in, or someone or like a new coworker, or someone maybe someone tries to weasel their way into your friend group. Like I've always thought about certain people in situations like that, where like they have a piece of valuable information, and then like Secret Service, CIA, someone tries to like,
it's real,
man.
Now I don't know if the UFO sighting was real, but what I do know is that there was a report that the police and firefighters were dispatched out there at that specific point that night. But like the government doesn't even like have a mention of it like at all. Like it's not even in their records. Police and firefighters have a records of being dispatched out there, but there's no information why they were.
So then my next question would be this.
It's in the middle of a farm. It's a farm field. Why would that be the case?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know matter of factly whether or not aliens exist. I've been intrigued on it. I don't dismiss it. If they are real, why do you think the government would want to hide it?
Fear.
Fear of what? Fear of us freaking out?
Yeah, probably. I mean, when they say security reasons, it's more they think we're going to have riots and stuff because we find out, which I don't think that's the case. I think they're really just trying to hold information close to their pockets so they know, and they want to study them. And I probably what it is if Area 51 is really what it is, then they're taking aliens in and all of their technology to try and develop their own technology so they have more power.
Do you think that could tie into like the artificial intelligence and the databases?
There are people who mention that they already have hydro driving cars, like cars that drive off of water.
Like here on Earth?
Mm-hmm. Military.
Gosh.
And there are people who've said that they have weapons that you can't even imagine already. And those are coming from security contractors who worked for them for 2 years in Antarctica and then left.
Have you ever seen the movie Meet the Robinsons?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of giving that a little bit.
A little.
Really good movie, too.
Yeah, it is. That's one of my favorite songs that comes off there.
Which one?
What's it called? It's that song by Rob Thomas.
Again, I'm not very cultured on music.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, we can find it.
Yeah, I'll find it for you. But yeah, I mean, I think anything for the government, it either has to do with power or profit.
Yeah.
They are not motivated to do anything unless it's for power or profit.
Not necessarily for our good. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering how does it benefit them if they're developing certain weapons or assets and they're keeping it secret and close to their pocket, like the hydro car, for instance.
Well, the hydro car, they're keeping it close to their pockets is because they're getting money from the people who get all the fuel. If we find out that they're running water powered engines, what's that going to do to the gas companies? It's going to send them under. So what are they going to do? They can't. So now what they're doing would be, lobbying so that type of technology doesn't come out. Because there was a guy like 1962 or whatever. He had an engine that would run it was like 1,500 miles per gallon. It was like a
water or gas?
Gas. It was like 4 or 6 cylinders, but as soon as he tried to patent it, he died of some mysterious reason.
Yeah, he probably fell off a building or something. You know what I mean?
It was poisoning.
Really?
They said it was food poisoning. So those type of things do happen. I mean, we don't know how Tesla passed.
So water and oil are both natural resources, and
I don't know. Gas is a natural resource, but it is not.
It's not renewable,
it's
right?
Not renewable at all.
So it's limited. If we were to go the water route, right? Both data centers and let's just say the hydro cars, if they were to be released, whatever, it's going to suck up a lot of water. We already know the AI data centers; those will deplete water sources,
mm-hmm. and then put out chemicals into the water.
Lovely.
But then I remember a few years ago they were talking about the fusion. You ever hear about that?
No.
So it's like a new type of power source.
Electricity type of source?
It's called a fusion something or other, and they were supposed to be fully developed by 2035. It's supposed to build power, bring electricity at 50 times the rate.
So it's like solar power but better?
Essentially, it's the power plants would use fusion instead of what they're doing now to have more power available.
Is that a good thing?
Yes. That's a very good thing. But they're building these data centers and all of this other stuff, like the electric cars, at way, way too early in the process of building the fusion. The fusion isn't going to be developed for another 10 years.
So here's my thing with the electric cars. I think, on the one hand it could be good. Yes, like people say it's better for the environment because you're not putting, the fumes in the air. On the other hand, and some people would say it's more conspiracy theorist, right? But electric cars can be controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So if government power, government
Well, I mean,
oversight,
it's not just electric cars that can be.
I mean,
They're not the only ones that can be controlled.
no, but like
Because I mean,
who's to say the government couldn't like, shut your car off and
well, I mean, people they can. I mean, that's how the police like put out these fake cars where they leave the door open for guys to walk in to try and steal and put them in a shop, and they press the 0 button twice, and then the car shuts off. But they've got all of these chips from the factories that can track where you're at. That's how they track where you're at. They've got all of the electronics in the vehicle. They can drive your car.
I'm just wondering if there's going to become a movement within a few years where, I don't know, like you're almost prohibited from buying gas-powered vehicles to encourage the purchase of
California's already
electric.
trying to do it.
Are they?
California did it with stoves.
What's that?
So like gas, they don't build new homes with gas-powered stoves. They have to have electric-powered stoves.
Hmm.
They're trying to get rid of all gas within houses in California, which is why their electric grid is going out.
But with stoves, that's not transportation. Like, what would be the difference between the gas and the electric stove?
Well, I mean, so if you use more electric, you have less of a number of electric you can use. It's like how Elon explained it was like when you put when you put volts in a Tesla, it's like parking cars. So whenever you're trying to find a parking space, it takes longer and longer the longer you charge up the vehicle. So it's the same thing when you're using your entire power grid. If you got to charge like 10 times more electrical vehicles, plus you're adding in data centers, there's like 1,000 times more volts that you were using. Plus you still got to do all of the appliances of stoves and stuff, and you got to still power the entire grid for homes and businesses and stuff. It's going to knock down the power grid, and it did in California, but other states are probably not going to want to keep that going.
And so, to be clear, the data centers would also run off of the power grid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to my understanding, our infrastructure itself is already old and outdated.
Sort of, yeah. I would say that.
Hmm.
And they're trying to come to a deal with Montgomery County, I think.
Yeah, here in Missouri.
Yeah, so they're trying to come up with a deal that they can only use so much, but they're going to get through that.
How do you feel about that? Because, growing up like 25, 30 miles from Montgomery County, that's always been like a very rural town, and it rubs me the wrong way that that they've approved this data center. What do you think?
I mean, like everything in life, there's pros and cons. So the pros are it's going to fund Montgomery County to actually do a lot of development.
It's going to be good money, yeah.
And rebuild and reinvest into the city. So it's going to be good money. Bad news is you're putting in a data center who's going to try and take control of your entire, like they're going to try and basically dictate whatever you can do with your city. And also, take up most of your power.
Did I hear a rumor about one potentially coming to Wright City in the future?
That got turned down pretty quickly.
Good.
That one got turned down pretty quickly. I think.
Yeah.
I think we just. Well, I mean, I think they're actually considering it. Like they have like a second reconsideration, but I don't think any of the aldermen are interested in that, and so they're trying to do some rezoning, so they can't do that. But.
Okay.
But St. Charles County's got one now. They approved.
Do they?
One. I think they approved one.
Do you know where that's going in at?
No, I don't think so.
Man. Yeah,
No.
that's a deep topic. A lot to digest.
I haven't fully dug into the data center stuff yet, so I'm not going to go more than face value right now because I do need to do my critical thoughts on it. But
that's good.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the face value effect of it.
Yeah, I have certain thoughts against artificial intelligence, and there are pros. Like for instance, with this podcast, I have like a AI platform that will make clips
Mm-hmm.
because I do not have the skill of editing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it saves me time when it can like it'll pull from this video recording
Mm-hmm.
and then make clips.
Yeah.
So like, I do use AI for stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I
But we're trying to keep ourselves from having Ultron.
Hmm.
We're trying to keep ourselves from having Ultron.
Is that
from Avengers?
okay. I'm not super familiar
The
with.
big silver guy
Okay.
who's trying to take over the world.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
the Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm like Ultron from Avengers was like the world needs to be clean because everyone's ineffective or inefficient. So they all have to be wiped to make the world perfect.
Right.
So that's the Ultron thing.
Like a utopia.
Yeah, essentially.
Man.
So, yeah.
Oh, I saw this one really good movie on Netflix. It's called The Pretties. Have you ever seen that?
No, I don't think I have.
It's a I guess it'd be considered a dystopia, but it came out a couple of years ago. It's really really neat. So basically, you have two options. You can either undergo this procedure and it would make your entire face and body like flawless, no blemishes, no moles, no wrinkles, no freckles. You're like perfect and you're considered a pretty and you live in this glamorous quote unquote perfect society. But if you choose to not go through that procedure, you're basically outcast from society and you're almost like this like outcast prisoner or whatever. And you don't get any of the luxuries that these pretties get. But it's kind of that like catch-22 where the pretties, they're flawless and they have this glamorous lifestyle, but it's also like very plastic at the same time. It's not natural, it's very artificial. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, what's that one? The Seeker? Oh no, The Giver.
Yeah, we read that in school.
The Giver, the movie is really good.
Okay.
So The Giver, and then what's the other one I'm thinking?
There's Mockingbird.
No, I'm talking about the guy who like could see all of the world before it was all black and white. And like they had to get their medicine so they don't have any feelings, they don't have rash decisions.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. What's the name of that?
Mr. Russell something or other was in it. I think it was The Seeker or The Giver or something like that.
Was that The Giver or is that something different?
I think it might have been something different, but it was something to that kind of a name.
Yeah, but like if you don't take your like like you're
don't
right.
Take your medications and you're gonna feel like have a bunch of feelings.
Yeah, feel like
see color.
You're gonna be a human.
Mm-hmm. So
yes.
I like those type of movies. Interstellar.
Heard of it. I haven't seen it.
And The Inception.
Mm-mm.
It's like the guys who went in from a dream into another dream with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
Then we watched that new movie that came out where the guy was like trying to save the Earth, and he had to go find this like red ray light because it was deteriorating the Earth as we saw it. I forget it's Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
We watched that.
I'm gonna have to ask you to send me like book links, podcast links, movie links, especially that Inception movie. I want to watch that.
Inception was pretty good. We watched The Martian. That was really good. Interstellar. Interstellar was with Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, and then Martian was that Matt Damon who had Martian? Yep. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so there are a lot of interesting movies that kind of play into that. There's did you ever watch The Tomorrow War?
No.
That's with the guy who played in he's Christian.
Okay.
Or is he Christian? I don't know if he is. I think he is. Chris Pratt?
Yes, he is. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. He was also in The Tomorrow War.
Okay, I'll have to look into that as well.
So yeah, I mean pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I like those like dystopia science fiction movies because they're fiction, but there's like a lot of truth in it.
There's also one, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like Emerald City or something like that. Like they were living underground and like afraid to go up into the world because it was poisonous. It's kind of like that, and then Cloverfield.
Heard it. Okay. Well, you know what? When I listen back to this, I'm just gonna make a list of everything everything we said.
And I can list out some of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I get a lot of this from my dad. My dad's a pretty much a documentary geek.
Okay.
So me and him are kind of into the same kind of group of things. So like I mentioned to you, I listen to Wesley Huff like all the time. I watch a lot of his stuff because it's insightful. It talks about how the scriptures, how the Bible we know came to be.
Wesley's brilliant. I saw like there was a bunch of clips that came. He was on this, I don't know what it's called. I'm sure you've seen these clips. He was on this podcast with these other guys who were secular, and they were just throwing out all kinds of like criticisms or like, objections to Christianity. And the way that he would answer them is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Because he's intelligent. It's not like he's just face level. He's not on the surface level of everything he's talking about. His profession is doing this. He knows when the Bible was written. In the 2nd century, he knows which Bible books were approved and weren't approved based on if it was canon or not. We don't even know if the Bible we know right now is complete, because there are scrolls they found, the Red Sea Scrolls. They're like, they have shriveled pieces of the scroll that they got to like map out, and they haven't gotten all the pieces yet.
Yeah, that's not something I've looked much into.
Yeah, so I mean that type of stuff is a thing. Like recently they found Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. That's a very predated historical architecture. They had only found the surface level of it, but then when you dig deeper into the ground, they found that like this thing was like 12,000 BC years old. So it like put our entire time frame of how our life was. The 12,000 BC from 5,000. They thought the first civilization was 5,000, but if it's 12,000, that was predated the Ice Age.
Yeah,
so.
I've heard all kinds of stuff. I've heard like 4,000. I've heard 12,000. In school we were taught it was 14.6 billion.
Well, the 14.6 billion might be true, because I know it was 40 days of the Ark, but we don't know. I can't really tell you how long between Noah's Ark and Adam and Eve, how much that time was.
Sure. I mean, both were in Genesis, but like how long that was, I'm not sure. It might say, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, and it's like, we don't even like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but we don't know Jesus between the age of 14 and 29, what he was doing.
I mean, yeah, he didn't start his ministry till he was like 29 or 30.
And, that time in between when he was like, I think it was like 13 till then, like you don't know any of that portion of his story.
Which means
I don't know if we have the entire Bible as we know it right now.
Like you alluded to with like pieces of the Dead Sea Scrolls and
Mm-hmm.
other documents that are still being uncovered. Certainly there's still value in that.
Mm-hmm.
I do got to believe that the Bible that we have was still divinely put into our hands.
It was divinely put into our hands, and I am not neglecting that, and I am not saying, I'm not condemning what we have, because this is the information we have and we can learn from this. But I do believe in generations from now, we will have other Bible books that will be canonized that we never had before, and it will add some more perspective to what we know. I know people kind of condemn this as well, but I talked to my dad about it. Reading into like the Book of Enoch and stuff like that,
it's one of the 4 books I think that aren't in the Bible, and I haven't read any of those. But what's your thoughts?
I haven't fully read into it, but like there are things in there that you can read into. You can take bits and pieces out of it, like we had discussed a little bit earlier. You can take bits and pieces of it, like a secular book, and then leave the others.
Interesting. Okay.
Because there are probably some good, valuable. I won't get into it. I'll just let you read for yourself. But there are things that are like really like weird, and very like. It's more spiritual than physical, I would say.
What does that mean?
There's a lot of like, there's like monsters in there. There's all talk about using opioids basically, and illusions, delusional type of things. Like you have these spiritual
like
type of
like mushrooms and acid.
Yeah, kind of that type of thing. And then when you look further into it, you get like visions off of those, and it talks about a lot of different things. I mean, it talks about talks about how there were angels on Earth, and they were mating with humans, and there's a lot of different stuff on there. It's like, again,
sounds like Percy Jackson, gods and humans mating.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of weird stuff in there, and obviously I'm not saying like I believe that to be canon, because obviously, but just opening a wider perspective on it. Like I've opened up the Torah.
Is that Old Testament?
Torah is the I don't know if it was. I think it's the not Judaism. Yeah, it might have been the Judaism Bible.
Okay.
So the Torah, which is, that's the Judaism Bible. I haven't opened the Mormon one because I've heard some testimony from Mormons, and I don't know.
Same thing with all that stuff.
The thing is I'm not condemning anyone for what they believe in. I by all means, everyone do what they want to do, and I'm not condemning anyone who's Mormon. I like to read into those, use audiobooks basically, but I like to not really read into them, but like kind of get into them so I can understand what their religion believes.
Sure. And I just want to say that I think if you're using it for educational purposes to help you communicate with those people better, that's fine. Like there are some
and just understand them better as how they think.
Sure. Just if you do so, proceed with like protection.
Well, I mean, I'm going into it not believing, not knowing that that's not what my values are, and that's not what I believe in.
Yeah.
What I'm going in there believing is what I believe in, but in order to have better connection with other humans that don't believe as I believe, I would need to have some sort of education to understand what they believe in.
I totally get where you're coming from and what your intentions are. I just don't want to see the evil one kind of use that.
Oh yeah.
So just make like that. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not condemning you.
That's what Wesley Huff does. He reads into the Torah, and he read into Islam.
I wonder if he says anything on it, like how he approaches it. Does he read the Bible before he goes and reads the Quran?
Yeah, I don't
or
know. I don't know if he's
what
ever said anything about that, but he said, his parents had the Torah and the Quran on the bookshelf, and just free to read. So he said it in podcasts. He said it on the Joe Rogan Experience. So he'll read into any of that. So
it makes you a great debater.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Caleb, it's been a pleasure having you on here. We've had some fantastic conversation,
and I think it's been a couple hours.
Yeah, man. Dude, I honestly, I hope the phone camera's still rolling. I don't know if I've had one this long, but I want to ask you one more question.
Gotcha.
What is something that most people don't know about you that you think they should?
difficult one because I am pretty open. Because I don't really play video games like that anymore. I just talk to people a lot. So let's see.
It could be like a very deep thought answer, or it could just be something like goofy and silly.
My guilty pleasure is scrolling through Instagram, seeing stupidity, basically, just like people falling and
like fail army.
Yeah, failing, and sometimes people will press someone else and then get knocked out. Like you see all sides.
World Star.
Yeah, it's just a lot of different things. Like Instagram is. It used to be TikTok, but I don't even get on TikTok much anymore. It's just Instagram Reels.
Ever since TikTok got bought out, I'm not really digging it.
I could take it or leave it. I didn't. The last time I got into TikTok was like during COVID, pretty much, and then my best friend who's moving here from Philadelphia, he was on Instagram, and we just sent each other memes all day. And he's more of the dark humor type of guy.
Okay.
So he sends me dark humor type of stuff, and sometimes it's a little messed up, but I like seeing, like, there's this one guy I watch, and he does curse, but it'll be like random stuff. Like there's this girl who, like, I guess what happened was she had to have a nose surgery, and when you have nose surgery, you have like a tumor happen in your brain. Or like around your brain.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it, like you snot, like you can literally sneeze out the tumor out of your nose.
So it's like
it's not a cancerous tumor, but it is a tumor because you like had nose surgery.
What's the thing in your stomach that you like have to pass and poop out? Kidney stone. So is it kind of like a kidney stone?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
So she snotted out, and it literally, like, you see the Kleenex and it go. You just see the weight. And he was like, "What in the world is that?" He was like,
"It's a meteor."
Like, yeah, he said, "I bet you if you go on Mars and you picked up a rock, that would be under it." It's like snotted out a McNugget is what he said. That was the other part. He was like, "Ooh."
Should show Elon what she sneezed.
But yeah, I mean, Instagram's probably my dirty pleasure.
Your dirty pleasure,
pretty much. That's why I call it the dirty pleasure.
Well, that's good that's your only like biggest dirty pleasure.
Yeah. And then I'm on Discord quite a bit to get some social. If I can't go out because gas prices are expensive, I get a lot of my social time in with people on Discord. So I have a lot of communities on there. Good, and like sports ones and Christian ones. Like you do a bit of both, and I have hockey communities, basketball communities. Like they're all cool, but the Christian ones are really, really nice too. And then that's where I met my my best friend who's moving here from Philadelphia. So
that's dope. Now, did you send me your Discord link?
I don't have my own Discord, but I can send you that.
Okay, I was just wondering if you wanted me to include that for
yeah,
that.
I mean, I'll make a Discord if someone wants to join. I'll make that. I have my Twitter. I sent you. I just created it for this purpose. I'll send you my Facebook. You probably have it, but if anyone wants to get on my Facebook, I don't post much, but I will have 2 podcast links that will be opening up fairly soon. The one is called "What's Your Passion?" and that's going to be my only question for you after we get done here is
okay,
what your passion is. And then my last one is I can post my Instagram, I just don't use it. So
yeah, guys, down below in the description of the episode, if you guys scroll to that, I will post all of Caleb's links, his social medias, his 2 podcasts on YouTube.
And I'll send all of those book links if people want to read into those books.
May or may not post book links on there as well.
But yeah, that is my one question for you. What's your passion? And actually, I'll actually show you the Facebook post I made today.
Okay.
All right. So what is your passion is the first question. And then I've got, if my thing will load, there we go. You have, what is your passion? Along your journey, where do you think you are? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? And what are you willing to do to get to that goal where you want to see yourself in 10 years? 5 to 10 years.
Two biggest passions would be baseball and Jesus. And within the category of Jesus, I could say like helping other people in any way, in like a Christ-like way. Where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? As far as baseball, more than likely it would be being a baseball coach.
Mm-hmm.
If it would be the Lord's will, then I could be playing, maybe like minor league baseball or something like that. But more than likely college will be the last place I play. There's just so many good athletes out there, but we'll see what happens. So still, yeah, more than likely coach, but we'll see. And then go on.
And where do you see yourself? How are you going to get to that goal to get to where you want to be in 10 years?
Man, I grind. Something we were talking about. I need to actually rest more.
Mm-hmm. It's part of a Sabbath.
Yeah, no, for real. As far as the player side of things, I've been going to this hitting trainer since late March. He's a former big leaguer, and in like the last 3 months, he's helped my swing out tremendously. I've been swinging a pretty good stick this summer for not playing in 2 years. So
Jordan Walker numbers.
I mean, I've hit a couple bombs. Yeah. So it's
just not 4 in a row yet.
Not 4. Yeah, no, I think he had 6 in a row in the home run derby. Yeah, he went off. But as far as coaching, that would just be experience. Like I coached this spring, so it would just be continued experience. Like the more you do it, the better you'll get.
But outside of like that's face value, but what are you wanting to do within your coaching? Like, are you wanting to bring Jesus to them in a coaching way?
For sure, and it would more so be just by example. Like for instance, if I'm coaching young youth athletes, it would definitely be more so example, because a 9-year-old isn't going to grasp Jesus the same way that a 16-year-old high schooler would.
And building those relationships with those kids even when they grow up. I mean, I still have a relationship with Coach Loftman from soccer, and Coach Sargent from football. So not saying I have a real good relationship with either of them because I don't talk with them a ton, but I still keep in touch a little bit because those were impacts on my life.
That's neat. One of the kids I coached this spring, him and his dad wrote me a card at the end of the season, and like the kid wrote on the card, he was like, thank you, Coach Ian, you're the best coach I could ever ask for, and that was really sweet. So
that feels rewarding.
Yeah, it does.
That's and if you can keep being that kind of a source even after you're done coaching them. I mean, after coaching them in sports, you could coach them on life if they need it. Might give them a little bit of a different perspective than their dad because not everyone's going to want to learn from their parent.
That's true. And I will say with this kid in particular, his parents have raised him phenomenally. Yeah. Like he was, okay, I don't want to say I play favorites, but like he was one of my favorites. And a big part of it was honestly the way his parents raised him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was great. And then some other kids were rather difficult, but I still enjoyed coaching them.
So I'll leave you with this, and I've mentioned this before. The life motto from here on out is that you're successful in life, and you build a life with Jesus by the way you live, why you live, and the manner in which you live.
Bars.
So that's the motto now. And
I need to get that on a poster and put it on my wall.
Yeah.
Do you think you can make one?
Yeah, I could probably do that. And then I'll leave you with my favorite J. Cole line. And this came from this recent album. Life is a film that cannot be rewound.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Those are like, just think about that at a deep level.
Oh, yeah.
Deep level. Life is a film that cannot be rewound.
Well, I mean, there's a couple situations right now, yeah, that hits home for sure.
So you only got one life to live. You got to live it for Jesus.
That's right. Caleb, pleasure.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I love being on the podcast, and I'll definitely have you on mine for both of them.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll have the What's Your Passion podcast, and then the Armchair GM one.
All right, guys. Like I said, we will drop Caleb's links below. Stay in touch with that, so you know. And yeah, Caleb, look forward to you starting your own podcast down the road.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless.
See ya.
We still rolling? Yes, we're good. No way.
Watch what they say, but don't do what they do. Actions speak louder in spirit and truth. I'm built different. I'm built different. Watch what they say, but don't do what they do. Actions speak louder in spirit and truth. All gas, no brakes. Can't fight fake. Mind over matter. Faith, no cape. Some only complain.